Assalamualaikum, selamat datang ucapkan kepada anda yang mengikuti sesi ini secara langsung dan juga yang menonton setelah live stream ini berakhir ke sesi kolaborasi. STOMACHOFCHAOS.com bersama laman pop culture suka ramai, Bus Pop TV. So seperti biasa, saya Gudo Maharizu daripada laman blog STOMACHOFCHAOS.com bersama Animu Division dari Bus Pop akan memberi reaksi dan ulasan musim kedua siri anime Hell's Paradise JIGOKURAKU yang diadaptasi dari manga nukilan Kaku Yuji, who is actually a previous assistant to a certain Fujimoto Tatsuki yang akan kita sebut sebentar lagi. Dan adaptasi ini adalah oleh studio MAPPA, diarah oleh Makita Kaori yang pernah mengarah siri seperti Banana Fish, Kakegurui dan juga episod-episod JIGOKURAKU yang sebelum ini. JIGOKURAKU masih boleh ditonton di saluran Netflix dan jika anda mempunyai akaun Crunchyroll, at Crunchyroll itself. Anyway, bersama saya panelis malam ini terdiri daripada lighting kau gila lah Munif. Munif balik.
Ada lampu glow kat rumah aku.
Oh, ya ke?
Macam villain lighting.
Gila je ominous.
Kau tengok pakai baju bunga-bunga ni.
Baju bunga-bunga. Kita akan berborak tentang bocu, jutsu, tanden dan sebagainya. Yes. Hell's Paradise lah. Apa aku cakap tadi? Aku cakap something else mungkin aku terpengaruh sekali cakap. Anyway, JIGOKURAKU Hell's Paradise. So untuk makluman anda yang belum pernah mengikuti sesi ulasan kami, perbincangan kami akan mengandungi spoiler yang berkait dengan siri yang diulas. Dan juga kepada anda yang menonton sesi ini setelah live stream ini berakhir, sila langgan kepada laman YouTube STOMACHOFCHAOS dan Bus Pop TV supaya anda tidak ketinggalan untuk menonton live stream kami yang akan datang. Dan jangan lupa untuk tenyeh butang like, share video ni dan sebagainya lah. So anyway, jika ada cukup soalan daripada penonton, kami akan compile for a Q&A session lah. Tapi kalau tak ada banyak sangat soalan atau soalan tu more relevant to the bits we are talking, kita akan incorporate soalan itu sewaktu kami buat bincangan tu. Anyway, yes, Fat. Apa review berbunga-bunga? Ya. Nasib baik kita ambil yang bunga aja dan bukan benda yang lain. Tu dia. Dan okay, yes, Wan Faris, halo. Dan juga InsyaAllah best. Tapi tolong support kami lah, bagi like dan support dan sebagainya. Tapi sebelum kami nak macam borak pasal JIGOKURAKU season 2 ni, kita nak macam venture out sekejap lah, because kami ada this little segment of anime news bite. So let's go. Yes, Anime News Bite hari ini kita akan bermula dengan satu berita bukanlah berita sangat, tapi macam actually Bus Pop dah cover dah sebenarnya. We had Nick, I think you were in it, and so was Duan. Peminat One Piece paling tersohor di Malaysia. Aku tak berani nak claim benda-benda macam tu, because sikitnya ramai orang yang minat One Piece kat Malaysia ni. But anyway, to everyone their own. I don't want to take glory. Don't want to take steal his thunder lah. Let me just get rid of this thing. Yes. Obviously, kita dah tengok season pertama yang cover Is Blue dengan ni kan, Along kan, in the first season. Dan basically dari bulan Mac ini kita disajikan dengan 6 episod kan? Ke 8? 6 8 episod. yang Netflix suka sangat buat macam ni, dia buat sekaligus. Tapi in a way like your argument which is fine lah, because aku rasa because quite a lot of people dah tahu One Piece and they probably want to watch it all. Tapi berbandingan diorang, saya tak pernah baca atau tengok anime dia. So setelah beberapa kali Netflix menghancurkan hati peminat anime dengan adaptasi mereka yang sangat fantastik, banyak orang menaruh harapan kat OPLA ni lah, because macam masa sebelum season 1 pun kita orang tengok macam dia punya trailer, looks good ni, tapi still masih cautious pasal teringat cerita yang nama Cowboy Bebop tu. Sikit punya cantik yang tu, tapi bila tengok semua terbalik, terbalik semua orang macam nak bakar TV dan sebagainya. But personally saya sebagai non-manga reader, non-anime watcher, tahu One Piece sikit-sikit daripada apa orang cakap. Saya rasa siri ni sangat enjoyable. Untuk saya nothing feels out of place sebab One Piece ni gila. Oda buat benda ni gila. Karakter dia gila, design dia gila, dunia dia gila. Saya pernah nampak lah ramai orang cakap macam cosplay, tapi kau nak realistik sangat ke? Kau nak macam kata kalau macam besi tu nampak macam besi kang, jadi kalau macam tu suruhlah ambil lah usaha bubuh tanduk tu dia jadi chopper kan. And I think I've seen some designs of the original one that they wanted to make, which was frightening as opposed to cute. And Oda cakap buat macam teddy bear. And tapi anyway, sorry aku tak nak cakap semua. Your thoughts actually on basically just a short on OPLA season 2. Happy, not happy? Kau baca ke atau kau tengok anime ke or what?
Aku anime aku tengok sikit-sikit, tapi aku memang baca lah sebab I'm the type of guy yang saya memang jarang tengok anime untuk semua IP aku consume pun, sebab aku more to mangaka dia intended benda ni orang baca kan. So that's why I read the things as the artist, as the creator intended. So kalau aku curious nak tengok bila dia move tu macam mana, then baru aku tengok lah some anime episodes ke apa ke. So I've never been the type yang follow religiously anime, tapi baca memang ikrok lah kita, ikrok. Memang kita baca.
Did you ikrok from day one or macam you've read it all but albeit a bit later or what?
I
sounds doable, isn't it? Sounds doable, isn't it?
It's doable tak? You tengok banyak, dia sekarang ada 100 macam 50 plus episodes kan, 1000
yeah, 1000.
And kau ada content creators yang baru tengok One Piece live action ni 2 years ago, and by the time season 2 keluar dia dah catch up. So orang yang kata mustahil tu, so this is for you guys lah. Sebenarnya
actually aku pun rasa tak mustahil. Aku pernah baca somebody kata macam kau tengok something like along the lines of, kalau kau tengok 3 episod sehari, ni anime lah, kau tengok 3 episod sehari kau boleh cover dalam a reasonable time. Tapi it does mean tengok hari-hari. Hari-hari kita tengok.
Kalau kau baca lagi cepat. Tapi kalau kau baca lagi cepat kau boleh catch up.
Tapi lagi tu sorry apa?
But that's why like, at the same time dia pun nak buat the anime remake tu kan, untuk yang
aku nak sebut benda tu just in a bit. Just in a bit
ni lah. So untuk yang live action ni itself, memang as someone yang membaca yang almost daripada day one lah baca One Piece ni, aku dia macam mana, dia terlalu mudah untuk cakap aku happy, adaptation dia bagus lah apa semua. Dia terlalu mudah untuk bercakap macam tu. Tapi you guys need to realise yang dia macam double whammy tau. Sebab dia bukan saja live action ni was done well, tapi it's the live action yang sepatutnya paling susah, paling tinggi peluang nak gagal. Pasal dunia dia macam tu.
Yes.
Supposed to fail.
Benda lain yang susah nak fail.
Tak, orang kata macam apa? Macam contoh masa dia nak buat movie Thor all those years ago, the first Thor punya movie kan, 2000 berapa dah. Kau tengok komik Thor masa before Thor keluar movie kan, sebab these days the comics dah banyak dipengaruhi the MCU tau. Tapi kalau kau tengok the comic version of Thor sebelum keluar the Thor movies, orang dulu cakap Thor is unfilmable. This guy pakai macam some Nordic god, duk tunggang dua biri-biri lalu atas jambatan pelangi. Apa benda semua ni? So One Piece is the same thing. Orang kata unfilmable. So walaupun dia dapat level unfilmable, tapi dia jadi the best anime live action adaptation ever. Gila tau. Sedangkan kalau kau tengok Cowboy Bebop tu kau buat dia macam vibe Cyberpunk, Guardian of the Galaxy pun dah jadi dah. So easy to do. And they screwed it up. Death Note is apa yang gila pasal dunia dia. They screwed it up. And even bila ada a good anime adaptation dulu pun, orang duk kata the Samurai X punya live action movies kan, and dia ada a caveat which orang kata senang, dia kata macam mana, dia say bukan to discredit aku suka Samurai X, aku suka dia punya live action, tapi there was always this caveat pasal Samurai X, kata this is the only way anime adaptation akan work kalau the world tu was very grounded in the first place.
Ada sejarah.
So Samurai X ada advantage. So orang kata macam best betul, tapi yalah boleh lah sebab macam dia tak ada laser-laser, dia tak ada binatang-binatang semua.
Dia tak ada.
And then tiba-tiba datang One Piece ni, the most impossible, and bukan made possible, the most impossible jadi the best. And kau tak boleh deny the fact yang at the same time this was the only one yang A, dapat Hollywood level punya money, B, had with and respected the creator, Oda-san. So bagi aku, kau boleh amaze dengan One Piece. Aku pun amaze dengan One Piece punya live action. Kita nak puji dia memang takkan habis lah satu malam pun. But producers, directors, whoever industry players need to realise yang One Piece dah tunjuk korang the secret to success. Investment, respect and involve the content creator, the IP creator.
IP, yes.
As simple as that. Simple as that. Itulah dia.
Yeah. I mean, just to echo your thoughts, especially on the bit where we were talking about ni, dia punya showrunner dia nama Matt Owens. I don't think, I'm not sure lah dari segi whether dia dia mengaku dia he's a big fan. I mean, I'm sure he is. I don't think he was self-proclaiming. I mean, I think untuk the first season he has a co-showrunner called Stephen Maeda, and then the second one is somebody else, and nanti third one will be the guy that he's co-showrunning it with another guy, additional person. But aku rasa asalkan Matt Owens ni, kalaulah dia yang kepala tahu pasal One Piece ni, stay in the project throughout, again with Oda punya input, insyaAllah aku rasa jadi ikut One Piece ni to whatever it is that Oda wants the live action to go to, because this was hinted by Maken Yu dalam satu interview. Dia kata dia orang tahu kat mana Oda, kalau so it's as if macam Oda kata mungkin pada time live action ni habis, the One Piece manga belum habis lagi kot. Aku tak tahu, tapi macam lama lagi ke. But nonetheless, I mean macam kalau kau tengok balik macam how we talk about the failure of Cowboy Bebop, as much as they put Shinichiro Watanabe's name in it, apparently dia tak ada input sangat or langsung. To the point that the interview he was like, I'm going to punch those people. Those people never actually discuss things with me. Sorry, what you saying?
Yeah, like there was the opposite of what they did with Oda-san. Cowboy Bebop, mereka macam isolated him terus. So and he was actually pissed about it because of the isolation. Dia kata ondok butcher baby dia and he can't even intervene. So and then here's the best part about this, is done by the same guys. So kau boleh nampak the same people, the same talent, the same manpower, the same resource, tapi beza dia respect dengan tak respect the IP creator. Hasil dia langit dan bumi. That sebab tu aku satu cakap orang selalu bising kata Munif ni dia lah Mr. Source Material.
Look what happened when you follow the source material.
But I'm right. Aku betul. You guys can be annoyed dengar aku cakap the source material, tapi kenapa aku betul? And at the same time macam Kudo cakap tadi, the showrunner pun dia memang is a fan of One Piece tau. Kau compare dengan latest macam MCU punya projects these days, kan, komik juga, where every time you interview the cast, the showrunner, apa yang pun cakap, kata we wanted to do something different, we don't want to do something like was in the comics. Siap ada yang cakap, I didn't even read the comics. This is going to be my vision. Me. It's not about you. So bila kau tak ikut the source material, that's ego. And then it proven to be shit. Because in the first place, kau buat this adaptation because the source material tu yang popular, bukannya kepala otak kau. Who the hell are you? Kau edit the source material because that's the shit. That's what people want to see. Not your interpretations, not your ideas, not your interjections. Never. Kalau orang minta komik yang kau buat, bukan komik yang kau nak adapt.
I just want to add also, I mean it takes one to actually adapt, because macam obviously as I said, aku tak pernah baca dan tak pernah, tapi aku sebenarnya aku ada confession, aku dah beli the first box set of the manga, belum buka lagi, tapi I actually beli that masa first season, sampai hari ni tak buka lagi. Tapi if they can compress along and it's blue kan into like that many episodes, that means you need to be really judicious in what you want to leave behind, what you want to put in, or what you want to amalgamate to have the same gist of the story supaya tak lari cerita tu, and yet at the same time retain important bits that's important for fans. For example, macam one thing that Matt mentioned in an interview was, for example, even Emily Rudd pun cakap, and nicely one as well, Emily Rudd is a fan. And she said, the good thing is they included things like macam masa dia tikam dia punya tattoo tu kan, because itu penting. Those little time bits are important. I mean, aku tak tahulah which other time bits are more important in the future, but aku duk tengok macam video dekat YouTube macam, ni kelakar lah kalau dia adapt ni, tapi yalah, mungkin kalau tak penting dia tak akan bubuh. Tapi people, we are not here to argue whether dia adapt tu malam dekat tengah kebun sedangkan adegan tu sebenarnya siang di tengah. Who gives a shit? Because orang, it's also meant for people like me. Aku aku macam tak ambil pot langsung tau One Piece. Sekarang aku macam best lah. Aku bukan tak nak tengok anime atau baca the manga, but I have genuine interest, but masa lah at the moment. But so tengok je lah live action. In fact, when I was watching, because of the fact aku sebenarnya masa aku tengok first season OPLA, aku berhenti dekat episode 4, and this was when they were showing it. And when I knew they were coming up in March, so masa aku balik Malaysia for in January, aku tengok the rest of it on Netflix. Aku dengan anak buah aku tau. Anak buah aku minat anime, tapi dia tak minat sangat lah this shonen ni type, because dia more into all this fantasy stuff. And then bila dia kata I've never watched, masa tu aku binge 8 episode or 6 episode, whatever lah, how many episode it was that's left behind. Dia kata I've never been this much shonen material in one night. And then he was watching it, and if people like us can be converted or make, and I do care about the characters. I do care about the characters in season 2. I generally felt sad. people say that you are sad because of masa cerita Chopper ke apa. So this guy, the showrunner knows his stuff lah. What to pick, what not to pick, what to. Sorry.
He's a fan first and foremost. Dia with all his expertise, with all his knowledge and experience and capabilities, on top of all that, he's a fan. So kadang-kadang ability pun tak guna if you don't have the political will untuk respect the source material and genuinely adapt it. You can be Nolan for fuck's sake. It doesn't matter. Kalau if you are not a fan to begin with, that's the difference. Sebab literally, have you seen anything epic or some big achievement that was done by someone who didn't give a shit about the thing? Macam contoh Usain Bolt, fastest man in the world. Lepas tu orang interview dia, you know what, mak aku paksa aku lari, they give a shit about this thing. So tiba-tiba aku laju. Have you seen that? Macam yang buat Messi yang menang World Cup, orang interview kan. Dia kata, dari kecil main bola lah. Tak, saya suka main tenis. When I was 20, aku tak ada duit nak main tenis, racket mahal. So I just tried football. Kita jadi best in the world. Ada ke stories macam tu? The peak level of tak kisah sports, arts, whatever. At the core of it is passion every single time. Tu beza.
Itulah. Anyway, I don't want to hijack our session to do one piece tadi. Somebody mention apa Zul Fadli ke? Tak, Ziad. Ziad kata boleh jadi 8 jam kalau korang nak sombang One Piece.
Betul.
Itu, and he also mentioned join One Piece community kuda. InsyaAllah. I need to read more and see more before I join, because memalukan, because aku tengok One Piece community kat Malaysia ni power, like ramai, and they all know his stuff, and obviously on social media there's quite a few good content creators who are really doing the One Piece stuff. But just to show that they have confirmed season 3, even when they were actually by the time they finish promoting season 2 di Jepun, di US, di UK, di wherever, Australia, whatever, and then they went back straight to shoot it. Whether dah habis ke belum, aku tak tahu lah. Tapi at the moment, confirmed season 3 casting is obviously the most famous one is Sholo Mariduenia, who's going to be Ace podcast, the Ace, and the next one is there was a bit contentious among some fans about Mr. 2 or Bon Clay. Tapi one more thing, the reason aku rasa aku enjoy, no offense to the actors who are in voicing. Why is this not showing? But I watched One Piece, what I mentioned, in Japanese. Watch it in Japanese. Aku tak pernah tengok juga English. So aku dengar Luffy's seiyu dan sebagainya. Tapi tak kisahlah. Ada orang kata lah Mamat ni macam ni, memanglah pakai pelakon macam tu. Asalkan suara dia macam ni. Bukan. Tomodachi datandayo. Aku actually, kalau Mamat tu dapat suruh Jim Carrey, memang ada gaya kalau dia buat bold cut bodoh macam dia Dumb and Dumber. Tapi yalah, it's how fan casted, how people wanted to fan cast Jamie Lee Curtis, and she knows it as well. And dia kata Katie Seagal tu kawan dia. Dia kata kalau Jamie Curtis kata kalau aku jadi doktorin, perut aku boros dia kata perut Katie Seagal tu is her perut. But yeah, I think the casting was so good lah for thus far. I think Miss Valentine looked the part. David Dasmalchian looked the part some more. Dah lah anak dia pun minat anime, minat One Piece. Just one thing lah. I do agree. I actually don't mind the skin swappage, but there are arguments. People say that if you watch under manga anime from day one, a lot of the characters actually become whiter as they go on. Like, kalau kau tengok the original Nico Robin, she looked Egyptian to me. You know, she's dark. I mean, like light brown skin. And then she became this fair skin girl. So, walaupun Vivi was fair skin, but I've not watched nor read Alabasta, but it does look like a Middle Eastern country. And, you know, if they use names like Nefertari, that's a reference to ancient Egypt, because in the past there were characters like Nefertiti, Queen Nefertiti, Mark Tutankhamun, you know, and Nefertari is also an ancient Egyptian name. So people do assume Arab Egypt lah. And then korang kena bear in mind tau, dunia dekat Afrika Utara sekarang ni, the reason banyak Arab yang Arab, pasal obviously in the past zaman orang empire dari Arab Saudi, dia orang takluk kan North Africa, so you get a mixture. So aku pernah tanya aku punya Egyptian colleague, I said, you don't mind me asking, the real Egyptian, if you were to look at all the old paintings, hieroglyphs, betul kan? I said, were they darker skin? Dia kata, yeah, because it is Africa. Not to the point dia macam Zulu apa, tapi macam if you bear in mind, kalau kau minat ancient Egypt dalam sejarah, bawah daripada Mesir adalah negara Sudan kan. Sudan empire dia dulu nama Nubia and Egypt were enemy. Nubia and Egypt tend to get perang lah zaman dulu, and they were black. Tapi kalau kau tengok macam muka all the faces of ancient Egyptians, macam like Tutankhamun, kalau kau tengok dia punya gold mask, bapak dia Akhenaten semua, bibir diorang tebal-tebal tau. So they are probably a bit mixed, you know, from the stock of perhaps the more Middle Eastern people to the darker skinned African people. Because bearing in mind lah, macam kita orang Melayu kan, kita antara China dengan India, no prize for guessing why Southeast Asia look the way that we look. So, you know, I mean, but yeah, so sorry, just to finish it, so Nico Robin will have the problem is sekarang dia as Miss All Sunday, dia very serious, very nak tunjuk ayu semua. Sedangkan bila aku tengok masa dia mula-mula masuk the straw hat, tapi yelah, korang yang nak tahulah, kru macam mana pelakon yang jenis macam very serious ni, atau tak ada, you know, tak masuk, tak nampak dia masuk air tau. Tapi hopefully she does masuk air lah, because you know of the way her character will be when she joins. And obviously we got Joe Manganiello as Crocodile, hinted at the end of season 1, and of course Vivi is still going to be in season 3 because she's obviously the Alabasta coming up. And we got this Mr. One who looks like Michael Richards from Manchester City zaman-zaman dulu, and Miss Double Finger, I think she looked the part. And obviously Nefertari Cobra, bapak kepada Vivi, we've seen him already in season 2, and I think he's alright as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward lah to whenever season 3 is coming up. Let's see, there's a few more comments. One Faris ada cakap, One Piece is to tackle new fans. Yeah, I mean, and I do hope, and new fans are actually convinced. And yalah, tapi berdua macam ni, bila established fans, there will be some who will like it. So there will be some who like, tak boleh, mana boleh, tak best. Apa dia kata, Scene Chopper dan Dr. Hiluk buat aku menangis. Kalau aku yang tak baca komik dan ni pun had the same emotional response, you know, so, which is the point of this adaptation. If you can get certain landmark bits in the episodes to elicit a response from viewers similar, if not exactly, to the people who read or watched the anime, I think it's done good part. Munif disappointed, Miss Rabu bukan Sydney Sweeney.
Semua role nak bagi dia. Kau tahu.
Apa ni? My TR pretty much makan you. Oh, tak boleh. Aku Lera Bova dia dah she is it, man. She is it. Yeah, Vivi, I think as an actress she's good. I think she is a good actress. Aku macam tak tahu sangat. Macam in fact aku kena macam buka internet nak tengok Lera Bova ni pelakon apa. Did notice that she has acted before. Tak adalah macam kena petik tengah-tengah jalan dekat
model
dekat dia half German half ni kan. So itulah and what did Faris cakap, mindset dia bila berangan dan dark joke Nico Robin tu yang orang suka. Aku ada bubuh kat Instagram aku macam curi this short bit masa dia mula-mula keluar daripada cabin dalam Going Merry tu, yang dia macam macam mana korang dah lah dia curi baju Naomi. Lepas tu dia orang interview dia untuk join. Dia kata, apa kau punya kebolehan? Membunuh. Lepas tu dia orang macam, woi. Tapi inilah bit yang aku kata aku nak dia orang adapt, because betul dia kata, by the way aku ada jewelry daripada crocodile. Kling. Daripada benci, Naomi straight turun dengan bila every single step kaki dia bunyi teller machine tau. Straight tukar tone. Oh akak comel. Pangang. Betul Zoro dengan Yusuf. Hey. I don't know lah. Tapi itulah, itu my this new fan would want that whether or not that is significant enough to be that or not. But anyway, okay. Next one that I want to talk about is obviously ada hint dia. Aku tak ada lighter. Aku tak ada lighter. Which is this. So pada anda yang membaca Chainsaw Man, it ended last week. Episode 232. Let me take that thing off. So 233 bab saja. Aku personally tak adalah kata macam biarkan, tapi macam aku macam sedih lah juga, macam alah, because it does feel out of the blue he decided to do this. Although I do imagine that pasal dia gila, dia consider bukan gila bodoh, gila. People consider him a mad genius lah. And then cerita lain yang dia buat, dia punya one shot, they were all good and totally not in keeping with the craziness and psychoness that is Fire Punch, which I haven't read yet and Munif has, and Chainsaw Man, especially part 2 Chainsaw Man yang tengah tunjuk sekarang dalam. Tapi aku tak sangka dia nak habiskan. Tapi dalam benda ni, kalau kau tengok kat belakang Reze joget tu, ada macam artikel in Japanese kan. That was an interview in magazine bernama Da Vinci Magazine. Da Vinci Magazine ni dia adalah antara majalah yang sponsor the annual manga awards in Japan. So banyak the next manga award nama award tu. So Da Vinci dengan Kadokawa I think, if I'm not mistaken, setiap tahun membuat anugerah untuk pilih the next best thing out there, and I can tell you yang menang sampai ke nombor 5 atau 6, mereka akan ada bright future ahead, macam either masuk Weekly Shonen Jump ke, atau lepas tu dapat anime adaptation yang jadi top anime series ke. So I can tell you, Oshinoko was one pernah menang nombor 1, Chainsaw Man pernah menang nombor berapa tak, Sakamoto menang nombor 5. You know, all the big names lah, Spy Family, anything that you see out there that's hot, they have won this award. But anyway, back to this Da Vinci thing. And actually dia pernah buat komen, dia kata orang kata macam 2021 tak ingat dah keluar ke belum the second part, tapi whatever, it might have just started. But kepada anda yang baca, anda mungkin ingat, I think there was a hiatus between part 1 and 2. Part 1 tu adalah Chainsaw Man yang kita tahu sekarang. And I can tell you we are still not there yet to the end of this part 1 punya arc, which is basically involving Makima and all her machinations. Tapi bila part 2 masuk, part 2 ni dia punya cerita dia jadi macam really beng, I mean aku punya term for bang, macam wah tapi so much so because aku baca kat app, so macam and then tend to baca laju-laju and macam ke mana ni ayam tak ada kepala lah, ada awet masak orang lah, and then it became weirder and weirder. Betul dalam, okay, back to this article, dia kata apa tau, Fujimoto kata, dia kata aku nak macam, aku dulu pernah tengok wayang ni nama The Big Lebowski, korang pernah tengok tak? Dia kata kalau kau tengok kan, kau keluar dari panggung tu kan, kau macam cerita apa siapa dia orang tu, aku nak pembaca Chainsaw Man rasa macam tu bila aku macam ya Allah, and this was 4 years ago tau. Anyway, Munir, your thoughts? Jangan bakar Bojita.
Dia sorry to say lah pada kalau ada Chainsaw Man fans yang menonton malam ni, sebab aku memang tak pernah suka Chainsaw Man. Honestly speaking, daripada the part 1 pun aku dah tak suka. Sebab kenapa? Sebab aku dah baca Fire Punch. So bila aku baca Fire Punch, aku kenal sangat perangai Fujimoto ni macam mana. So macam kalau korang boleh disagree dengan aku punya assessment, tapi just aku nak beritahu korang aku punya honest punya pendapat lah. Aku rasa dia, jangan keliru lah, dia talented. Sebab kau tengok tu lah, macam Kudo cakap, the shots yang dia buat tu memang best. You know, lepas tu yang apa cerita tu yang kita bedah sebelum ni, yang look pasal back. Look back. Pasal look back. Kau tengok lah memang best.
Wan Faris, you tanya pasal did you watch Rizia? Did you watch Rizia?
No, I didn't. Sebab aku dah lama give up dengan Chainsaw Man ni. Pasal apa? Bila aku dah baca Fire Punch, bila aku tengok Fire Punch tu habis the way dia habis, and masa tu aku rasa aku duk baca Chainsaw Man, dia macam dah nak final battle dengan Makima, aku immediately drop. Sebab aku cakap, kalau aku terus baca and aku terus invested, aku akan sakit hati. Macam mana aku sakit hati dengan Fire Punch aku. Aku dah tahu dah. Sebab dia yang bahaya Fujimoto ni, he is very good at creating, orang kata, memorable characters, lovable characters, interesting characters. Yang tu kita tak boleh deny. Tapi another dimension kepada Fujimoto ni pula, dia suka buat macam dia Kudo cakap lah, dia nak macam orang rasa macam tengok filem Big Lebowski tau. Meaning dia sebelum apa-apa dalam otak dia dah set nak buat orang bingung, nak buat orang fucked up, nak buat orang bengang, nak buat orang keliru. So the problem is that bila dia dah tanam that end game tu siap-siap, dia bagiku benda tu tak jadi dengan organik tau. Dia sebenarnya sangat performative. Maksud aku is that dia macam buat benda fucked up for fucked up sake tau. Not because that's the, orang kata, a good story or the appropriate story for the character. Dia jenis orang yang mati tak mati, masuk akal tak masuk akal, bodoh tak bodoh, suka tak suka. Aku nak korang sedih, aku nak korang rasa wow fucked up, aku nak korang rasa wow gilanya mangaka ni. I get that vibe from him. So sebab tu dia akan buat karakter best, because tu memang ability dia, and dia akan fuck up all these characters. So aku punya mentality is that, then kenapa aku nak jadi investor? So baik aku drop everything yang kau tulis. So aku dah buat the mistake of tengok Fire Punch sampai habis, benda haram jadah apa tak explain, ending macam bodoh, karakter bazir habis macam bodoh. And naturally Chainsaw Man, aku tergelak bila aku tengok macam netizen semua komen, macam tu je. Tapi dia benda ni tak jawab, benda tu tak jawab, karakter ni tak resolve, karakter ni macam, welcome to Fire Punch, welcome to Fujimoto punya school of manga. So tu memang style lah. Dia macam korang rasa fucked up kan, korang rasa terganggu kan, seni tak aku, power tak aku. So I get that vibe from him. So aku memang tak suka. So beza kalau kau baca One Piece lah contoh kan, macam Oda bukan tak, aku nak bagi korang rasa fucked up, aku nak bagi korang rasa apa. It's just that story dia organically buat kau gelak, organically buat kau nangis, organically buat kau rasa epic, semangat, sedih, down, bangkit balik. It's very organic sebab the storytelling is good. Macam Fujimoto ni, the character creation is good, tapi the downside of that, dia kenyak karakter-karakter yang cantik dia buat tu sebab kau rasa fucked up kan, aku seni kan. So I just really don't like that. Setengah orang yang suka misery, yang jenis suka benda-benda yang serabut macam ni, maybe kan suka, but I don't. And don't get me wrong, aku macam dude, aku baca Berserk kot. Kalau kau nak cakap saya fucked up, kalau kau nak cakap saya depressed, tapi that is design. That is macam benda tu is deserve punya fucked up, is deserve punya sakit, is deserve punya pedih, is deserve punya perit. Yang Fujimoto ni kerja-kerja, hasil kerja dia, aku tak rasa those feelings so is deserve, and orang just end up annoyed. Sebab character creation dia bagus, storytelling dia tak bagus, sebab dia asyik fokus intention dia, aku nak korang rasa fucked up, aku nak korang rasa aku seni. So sebab tu aku tak follow, and sure enough bila aku tengok the whole fandom mengamuk. So macam nasib baik aku tak baca, sebab aku dah terkonor dengan Fire Punch. Kalau ada yang suka, that's good for you, I'm so happy for you. Tapi aku tak boleh lah, I just cannot with this guy. And the new manga project, whatever hell dia nak buat, percayalah aku takkan baca. Yang tu aku takkan start.
Aku macam ni lah. Okay, the next few bits here is kalau korang tak baca dan tak tahu penghabisan cerita Chainsaw Man, padam volume sekarang. Nanti aku bubuh kat komen, boleh pasang volume boleh supaya boleh pasang volume boleh. Okay, aku punya pendapat macam opinion from observation lah. Aku pernah cakap kat Munir sebenarnya, macam aku rasa kan, macam probably like in the middle of last year or 2 years ago, he was like, can't be bothered lah, I want to do something else lah. So let's end it. and then because perhaps he done it before in Fire Punch. He was like, aku malas aku nak explain. Aku rasa malas lah nak explain. Kau tengok lah ni tadi, aku saja bubuh gambar ni bukan nak hina dia, tapi dah ni tak betul. Ni dia, this is him.
Okay? Dia aku lupa nak cakap satu benda. This guy, he's like the guy yang create the series Lost tu. Dia memang sebiji macam dia orang tu. Satu aku pantang. Dia macam there are some creatives yang dia pandai set up. Dia just pandai set up. So macam dia nak umpan orang with the setup, and they never had an intention untuk respect kau enough to resolve benda tu properly. There was never a plan. Dia bukan pasal I tried tapi gagal ke apa benda, tak. Dia macam aku just nak bait kau, aku nak bait kau dengan wait shoot. Aku nak bait kau dengan cult punya entry. Aku nak bait kau dengan this keganasan yang tak masuk akal, and at the end of the day, fuck you.
I macam I'm just gonna give a slightly differing opinion than that, although I respect what you just said, because aku rasa benda tu is like his, okay lah, I'll use that line to explain to people that I'm going mungkin that he wanted to do it properly, but then he didn't learn that from his first lesson from his this was my I'm alluding to what has happened in Fire Punch lah, yang dia macam Uzan lah. So dia buat, okay, let's do a nice one, and then after how many years, because people liked his story, because otherwise it wouldn't have been in Shonen Jump and that kind of thing. And then dah lah kita dah tahu assistant dia, berapa orang lah assistant dia, becoming, forthrightly good mangakas themselves, like the guy who made Spy Family, the guy, and etc. Okay, fine, probably they tak pick up lah on the way that he does stories by leaving it at the end of the day. But you have to admit, the people who made Kaiju number 8, the people who made Dan were his assistants. But anyway, back to him being this person who, I'm not trying to look down on people who are in the spectrum or whatever. What if he's one of those kind of people? So the thing is, a newly minted manga fan might not know of his behavior, pick up his latest stuff nanti next year, 2 years coming down the line, and won't get disappointed until 3 years down the line. Because in a way, macam kalau kau tengok, for example, the assassins that we're going to meet up in season 2 coming up, involving this bunch of 5 girls who and they're drawing in all the other assassins and devil killers from different parts of the world. You feel like he's twisted lah. If he wants to lure people to read stuff by making something interesting like that, just to go, I'm going to blow it up. It's like somebody who's memang invented something nice.
Twice.
Huh?
He's done so twice.
Yeah. But this is the thing. Aku tengah bagi explanation apa who's this one. But anyway, I'm not saying it just because I bought his manga. I am still reading it. But one of the bit of the bit why I'm calling it a spoiler is because at the end of the day, Chainsaw Man is the story of Denji, not the monster, not the Chainsaw Man, not the Chainsaw Devil, not Pochita or whatever. Because he just wants to be a kid who gets a normal life, and he just but it is. Yalah, macam bangang je. Bukan, yalah, bangang is one thing as well lah, I guess. So, it's like, God, kau nak cerita dia sebenarnya hidup dia sebenarnya tu ada mimpi. But all this while, you've been writing all these stuff, spend hours telling these stories. You've written all these volumes of manga, because the manga is now like the latest one is 21 or 22. And then by the time we finish, Rize is volume 6 or something like that. If I'm not mistaken, bayangkan how many volumes. Dalam satu volume tu ada berapa chapter lagi kan. It's like, oh my God. Like Munir says lah pula, aku risau what's going to happen in the next one. Tapi itulah. But his one shots are nice. His one shots are nice.
That's my problem with him is that that's why aku cakap.
Okay, boleh masuk
this frustration datang because I know he's talented. This frustration datang because I know he can tell a good story. But then this frustration datang because I know this is performative. It's about him. Dia nak orang tengok, wow, Fujimoto fucked up sial, Fujimoto kejam sial, Fujimoto seni sial. And that's why he butchers his characters and his stories. Sebab macam kau cakap, kita bukan tak tengok he can tell a good story. Tapi this big characters, this big IP, this onda beloved lagi dia buat, somehow is this thing kan macam I wanna destroy something beautiful tau, that line. So dia jadi macam kau suka ni kan. Kau akan cakap, wow, fucked upnya Fujimoto ni. Pam, nothing means anything. Gonna end this like a bad 90s Malay movie tau. Mimpi lah, apalah. So macam
ada wayang apa kau tengok? Wayang yang mimpi tu.
So when we know he can tell a good story. So aku punya argument, if it's ability, kita kan I will discuss the pros and cons. Aku suka this parts of the story. Cuma aku nampak what they're trying to do with this. Maybe tak berapa kesampaian because of this. I can analyze. But I genuinely feel because they're projecting himself, because he made it about himself. So dia macam nak buat fucked up no matter the cost. And that compromises the story. So my annoyance with him is that aku rasa he made it about himself, and he effed the story. Padahal benda-benda lain dia buat. We know he has talent. So that's where the frustration is coming from, because I know he's talented.
Yeah, but just again, just to seal this bit to go on to the next bit before we start. Is that God? It's gone now. But yeah, I'll mention it once I get to it. But just ini saja aku nak tambah one last one. Aku tak tengok lagi, tapi aduh, satu episod je. Have you watched this? It's bulan Oktober tau, the next bit. It's like hari tu kau bubuh sumbat semua one shot, orang semua marah, apa kau tak buat once a week? Anang kau once every 6 months. David Production sure macam is either David Production tengah sibuk atau tengah tak ada staff atau apa, atau Netflix cakap keluarkan 12 episod ini dalam tempoh 6 tahun. Tak tahu lah aku Nabi ya. I do not know how much material there is. So I didn't watch it because what's the point of watching it now since I'm gonna have to wait till October? Did you watch it or?
I did watch it sebab dalam in every JOJO punya story, Stillball Run is my favorite JOJO story. Aku pun memang excitedly pergi tengok. Then the next week the new episode tak datang. What the hell is going on? So dia macam ni lah. Dalam banyak-banyak anime kan, if there is one that would benefit from a big format, itulah Stillball Run. Kau tahu kenapa? Because the whole show is about a fucking race.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah,
race. Bila kau tengok race apa selang 6 bulan satu episod, memanglah mati momentum dia. The show is literally momentum incarnate. High octane chase. Pernah tak kau tengok a whole manga start sampai finish is a fucking chase? Itu yang buat Stillball Run tu best. Bila nanti orang tengok macam orang dah lupa the tension from the previous episode, leaderboard siapa ketinggalan, siapa yang dekat, and because time tu dah jadi diluted, hilang the tension tu. Padahal semua jadi in a short span of time, sebab di samping dia duk race pula, there's a mystery behind the race yang dia duk kena rungkai sambil dia orang discovering their own powers, sambil dia orang tengah having this high octane race. If there is one anime, katalah kita ada beratus juta anime dalam dunia ni, and aku boleh cakap exclude one anime from doing this format, aku akan sekelip mata cakap Stillball Run. And Stillball Run lah precisely yang kau pilih untuk buat macam ni. Aku memang tu kata this a boneheaded decision, an understatement. Yeah. Serius bodoh. Aku kesian gila dengan JOJO fans. Like I'm not the biggest JOJO fan, but Stillball Run is generational untukku. And aku kesian the real OG JOJO fans yang suka all the art, and korang kena suffer benda bodoh ni. I really pity you guys.
Aduh. Kan macam masa JOJO 6 tu would benefit from a weekly release. Tu tak apalah because dia memang episodic. So, I didn't know that the Stillball Run is actually one full race. Tapi macam masa yang when it makes sense to do it. And dah lah masa JOJO 6 tu orang dah complain and they did it in 2 course. Second course dah release balik the whole the release one shot lagi. Macam dia bodoh juga Netflix. Well, I think they're thinking about it more from a monetary point of view or whatever. But tak salah aku dekat, if I'm not mistaken, that JOJO 6 was actually released in Japan weekly. But dia orang macam fikir semua orang skema, takkan guna VPN, because obviously in the Western and anywhere else punya tempat, they are licensed to show it in Japanese. So you know, people who are macam smart enough. They just pakai VPN lah, tapi macam diorang scammer kan, dekat alah kita jual laku ya, tapi but there you go lah. What a waste, but there you go. You wonder lah sometimes. And then because about 2 weekends ago, or last weekend, it was Anime Japan 2025. I'll speak about this possibly this Sunday dengan session dengan Amber dengan Comic Slot, because they did ask the people at David, and they were like not really forthcoming. Dia kata just watch it in October nanti. Kita orang memang expect to like, what kind of answer is that? So really do not know what's happened. So unless somebody in the comments know anything otherwise, I think this was like might as well just show it lah in Philippines whenever you're ready with the whole thing. I don't know what you're thinking of, but tu je lah, nothing much else to talk about Stillborn. And personally aku pun macam tak ada, I can't remember what it was that I wanted to say about apa hal jadi macam ni say about ya aku punya screen jadi kecil for some reason. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Anyway, let's get cracking then. Let's get cracking to the point that we're here, which is JIGOKURAKU, and kita do our usual reaksi. Apa ya? Okay, reaksi satu ayat untuk aku. Memang aku nak bagi satu ayat je lah. Literally, Mappa has done good. Satu ayat. Compared to what it was last time. Zaman masa dia tunjuk JIGOKURAKU season 1 2 years ago. Masa tu zaman ketabakan Mappa, semua yang dia nak buat sampai anyway, sorry. Your reaksi satu ayat dari Munif of the second season.
Sama lah dengan aku do, which is I'm very happy with the improvement in animation.
Yes.
Itu sebab the story dah best, the characters dah best, the power system dah best. We know these things.
Yes.
Tapi dari dulu juga, the only thing is kau nak kena bagilah animation yang justify the artwork sikit. And we see that improvement lah. So dia orang mendengar lah at least.
Because macam the point that people were shitting on Mappa in the past, macam diorang tak bagi duit lah apa. I think I read recently that Mappa adalah antara company-company yang actually bayar quite well. It's just that obviously zaman kurang kebilangan dia, zaman dia nak ambil semua all these jobs. It was time was the issue. So because bila kau tengok macam Dan Mappa kan? Dan saya Saru. I beg your pardon. Siapa yang Mappa yang Saru? But even zaman kekurang bagusan Mappa pun, I think they did film the title of which escapes me. It involves like macam ada kilang meletup dekat di sepekan, and the day seems to ulang again and again. Something along those lines. Anybody in the chat yang ingat bobo nama title kat bawah, yang tu nampak cantik. So it's like that. It's not that they cannot do good things. They've done good things. I mean, dah lama dah. And you have to bear in mind, Mappa ni is the offshoot of Madhouse. So when Maruyama left Madhouse, dia buat Mappa. But obviously masa zaman Mappa tengah tu, Maruyama has long gone. Dia buat Studio M2. Studio M2 buat cerita ni Pluto, and you can see how nice Pluto is. And then adalah juga orang did say that the successor to Maruyama was at fault lah for what's happened 2 years ago. But nonetheless, it's nice to see that Mappa's done a good thing lah with the second JIGOKURAKU. Apa ni cakap? Ada somebody make. Okay, I thought ada comment tadi. Okay, apa just before we go on to the main section. So basically untuk episode untuk musim kedua Jigokuraku atau Hell's Paradise ni, dia datang daripada mainly this dia macam the latter bit of volume 5. So most of it is actually volume 6, 7, 8 and 9. 6, 7, 8, 9. And then the final episode, episode 12 tu the beginning of 10. Jigokuraku together ada 13. So essentially you got a big part of 10, 11, 12, 13. So about 4. So itulah, we'll talk about a bit more lah dalam harapan nanti. Tapi kita akan go on to the main section and have a chat about this story.
どんどこどこどこどんどこどこどこどんどこどこどこどんどこどこどこ満月様素晴らしい満月は偉大なりもういい月には黙って月見りゃいいんだよ
Okay, let's get rid of that. So Jigokuraku, as we said, we've got 12 episodes. Obviously the first 2 episodes tu datang daripada what was called the Lord Tensen arc, which was majority of the Lord Tensen arc was actually in the latter half of the first season lah, where they learned about apa pasal Pulau Kotaku ni sebegini. Pada anda yang, I give a quick recap lah. Pada anda yang macam baru nak join tengok session ni without knowing much or not knowing at all about season 1, cerita dia pasal the Shogun wanting the elixir of life. So basically fountain of youth, ubat jampi yang akan memberikan hidupan lama-lamanya. And dia kata dia ada pulau dia, nama Pulau Kotaku ni, dalam peta kalau kau bayangkan Jepun, bawah tu Okinawa, on the way to China lah, is this island. Because island ni macam ada banyak influence Chinese architecture, blah blah blah. So dia nak elixir of life ni, so dia guna taktik. Dia nak guna kita guna, dia tahu pasal orang yang pergi pulau ni banyak semua mati. Semua tak akan datang hidupnya, because the last time dia tengok kapal ni keluar dengan mayat, muka dia orang ada bunga dan sebagainya. So tapi dia kata nak cari elixir of life. So kita akan hantar penjahat-penjahat yang memang nyawa dia orang macam ni lah, dah dapat hukuman bunuh mati ke pulau ni untuk cari, like a competition. Siapa yang dapat full pardon. Tapi macam battle royale lah. So kau kena macam kill each other to do it. In fact, the selection to go to Kotaku was a battle royale in itself. And that was at that time when the animation was really good and bloody hell so violent, which is what is normal in the 12 episode in season 2. Tapi diorang akan diiringi setiap penjenayah yang menang the first initial round the battle royale dekat Jepun tu akan diiringi oleh diorang punya executioner yang which otherwise diorang akan dipenggal kepala sebagai hukuman kan, seorang satu. So execution ni a bunch of samurai daripada keluarga Yamada Saemon. So each one of them akan so biasalah ini anime / manga kan, setiap executioner tu ada skill dan power diorang tersendiri dan sifat diorang tersendiri dan sebagainya. And so does the individual criminals. So dia started lah, so diorang pergi ke pulau ni, encounter all these strange happenings, all these beasts, orang campur ikan, campur apa jadah, mata keluar kaki lah, memang benda-benda yang macam yalah, as the title says lah, Hell's Paradise kan. And then obviously the number of people dalam group tu, executioner baik, orang jahat baik, dwindle lah. Obviously either in fighting atau fighting each other atau fighting the monsters, tinggal this bunch of group, obviously with the leading person Gabimaru. He is a shinobi from this family called the Igawakure. Diorang ni very ruthless punya ninja tau. Dia macam apa nickname dia? Gabimaru the pasal dia tak ada
MT.
The MT. Dia paling ada emosi langsung lah. Dia bunuh semua kan. So that's him. And then and then there's this big swordsman called Gantetsusai. Again sentenced to death. And then there's another shinobi, a girl called Yuzuriha. Say hello to Yuzuriha. Buka lagi plastik.
Laju.
This is the best one. Dia tata je atas branch pokok. Dia tak buat benda lain ya. Dia bukan figure ya. And then we've got is Fuchi Yuzuriha's Fuchi wasn't Yuzuriha's executioner kan? Executioner Yuzuriha mati kan yang pakai spek tu. And then there's one executioner called Fuchi, a small kid who likes to do autopsies. He likes to dissect things to see what things actually are. And then we got a guy called Toma. He's an executioner who's actually the brother of a criminal who's also in the party, and it's only known later that he was the brother. But he got caught at the end of at the beginning of season 2, like lepak dengan the party of Gabimaru ni. And there's one of the executioners called Shion. He's blind, but the interesting bit about Shion is kita akan bincang pasal power system dia in a bit, which involves this thing called Tau. Dia boleh nampak Tau ni sebelum masuk island ni lagi. If I miss anybody else, I think that's... And then there's a little girl called May. Girl ni nanti kita tahu at the end lah siapa dia. Tapi they discovered this girl when they were in the Lord Tensen arc to which was in a village, in which she was living with this person, which is a tree. So dia macam Guardians of the Galaxy tu, Groot. It was essentially Groot lah. So they were walking around with Groot's head. So essentially nak tahu apa pasal dia orang ada macam ni. So I think the story began in season 2 with di mana di Jepun Shogun tu dapat tahu yang mission ni macam Pak Gaya macam fail. Because dah 2 hari dah dia orang tak balik lagi. So aku macam, you mean those whole thing happened in 2 days? Or perhaps there was a time gap where they were expecting them to be back by a certain time and it's been 2 days. But yes, kita diperkenalkan dengan this character nama Shugen, who's an executioner. Would you like to say a bit about Shugen tak? Apa dia punya, in your pendapat, apa the dichotomy between kindness and cruelness, shall I say, dalam watak ni? Aku macam tak tahu whether to slap him or whether to like him. Anyway, go ahead.
Aku rasa dalam banyak-banyak sebab aku dah consume banyak kan anime, manga apa semua. Aku boleh kata Shogun is very memorable untuk aku. Is antara yang aku kan sentiasa ingat sebab dia ada satu trait pasal dia yang sangat unik bagiku, bezakan dia from the other anime characters so. Sebab aku dah cakap lah, kadang rasa macam nak tampar dia, kadang rasa macam bagus lah kalau dia on our side kan, as our comrade kan. So the thing about Shogun is that pendapat kau pasal dia will be determined by adakah kau ally dia atau adakah kau next target dia. And kenapa aku cakap Shogun ni bagiku sangat memorable, sangat interesting, sebab aku tak pernah tengok watak yang scammer sampai tahap berbahaya. Kau pernah nampak orang yang sangat scammer sampai dia jadi dangerous. So this guy
by the book.
Dia sangat stick pada dia punya bushido tu, pada dia punya code tu. Dia stick pada dia punya code sampai bukannya sampai tahap kita pernah tengok even dalam kisah hang tua hang jebat pun you know code kawan you sendiri pun matilah sebab you have a code. Tapi Shugen ni lagi teruk pada tu. Sebab apa? Dia punyalah code tu number 1 sampai kan kau bayangkan dia pergi pulau yang penuh dengan monster and dia tak goyang langsung. Dia sekarang ni mana semua orang yang melanggar peraturan ni? Ada monster-monster ni dia tak kisah. Dia langsung tak kisah. Aku literally tak pernah nampak watak yang conviction dia punyalah kuat. Aku percaya kalau ada Godzilla dengan Ultraman kat pulau tu dia tak kisah. Dia cakap siapa langgar the rule, aku nak pancung kepala. So this guy is dia gila. Tapi orang lain gila sebab marah jadi gila, trauma jadi gila, sedih jadi gila. Ini scammer sampai jadi gila. Kau memang tak pernah nampak orang yang macam ni. So aku suka dia sebab he's so memorable in that sense. Tapi memang masa aku baca all those years ago, bila aku baca manga ni, memang sangat frust dengan Mamat ni. Aku macam, dude, you know, keliling kau ada macam monster-monster 10 tingkat ni, aku tak kisah ke? Macam, someone broke the rule. Aku nak cari dia orang ni. Lepas tu dia bunuh benda-benda keliling dia, pergi mampus tepi kan. Korang ni benda yang aku nampak, benda monster setinggi bangunan yang aku nampak for the first time, you do not matter. Ada orang broke the rules ni, tepi. So, aku tak pernah nampak watak macam ni anywhere.
Apa Shugen ni? Aku tengah buka Wikipedia for a particular reason. Apa nak cakap? Sorry, I'm supposed to. Yes, dia punya skema dia to the point that in fact it was illustrated in one of the expositions yang dia pernah membuat macam bila dia hukum orang, dia bukannya macam aku nak macam cabut jari kau sesuatu ke apa. Dia go all out. Dia macam sekali tu dia nak Yakuza ni punya boss kan, dia nak threaten, nak dapat information. Dia bukan takat bunuh geng dia. Dia bunuh keluarga dia, atuk dia, nenek dia, bini dia, adik dia, kakak dia, cucu dia. Dia pegang baby tau. Kaki siluet lah, tapi awal like, holy shit.
Yeah. And here's the crazy thing, macam benda yang Kudo cakap, he did all that. Dia buat semua tu, but at the same time dia someone yang tak boleh marah certain guys sebab tu senior, dia kena hormat. At the same time dia macam tu. Macam mana orang tu ni?
It's like tak bertempat punya nak ikut undang-undang tau. Aduh, aku macam because kau apa ada mention pasal Melaka kan. I mean, aku tak tahulah kalau jika anda pernah ada peminat sejarah atau suka baca prosa klasik zaman-zaman Sultan Melaka dulu, bila dia orang hukum macam tu jugalah. It's like dia hukum kau, dia hukum bini kau, anak kau, kalau kau ada parents kau sekali, dia robohkan rumah kau dengan tanah-tanah tu sekali. Dah lah dia bakar semua kan. Dia humban ke laut. Like literally out of spite want to get rid of you. Okay, fine if that person is a criminal. It is a criminal act, but God, war betide you lah if you ada kahwin dengan Lanun ke apa. So Shugen ni dia punya voice actor dia, the reason aku buka wiki nak tengok dia berlakon apa lagi. Dia jadi Bruce Lee dalam My Hero Academia. Macam mana tu? He's in Windbreaker. Ada Bruce Lee dalam My Hero, tak ingat. Dia in Sakamoto. This as Heisuke Mashimo. He's in the upcoming Jaduga Wish in Mongolia. Ya, aku tak tengok anybody else yang aku betul-betul tengok nama dia straight klik. Aku macam tak klik tengok nama-nama pelakon ni. He's in Beyblade X is King Manju. Blue Lock as Junichi Wanima. The Wanima brothers. Come on. Classroom of the Elite. Arwah Andri, your favorite. Oh, there you Ishigami in Kaguya-sama. So anyway, but that's our friend Shugen lah. Tapi another thing is kita diperkenalkan dengan palapis kepada Iwagakure punya shinobi, which is basically the ninja family where Gabimaru comes from lah. Dan kita pun diperkenalkan dengan konsep. Obviously this concept ni akan shown later on at the end of the season, but since we've mentioned Iwagakure ni, because kita nampak ada one scene to one of the leaders is a woman. She looks crazy, and she's going to be the next Gabimaru if the Hollow, bukan the empty, the Hollow. She's going to be the next the Hollow. Tapi kan ni lagi tu, if just now kita bengang dengan the juxtaposition between loyalty to the law, that kind of stuff, campur cruelty, this one dia ni psycho, going to be the next Hollow, tapi dia suka Gabimaru like awek yang aku macam to the point that tadi serious, sekarang aku rasa ni nak jadi lawak ke ni, tapi I don't think it's lawak lah, but it's like scaringly lawak. Did you remember this bit? This female Gabimaru.
Yeah, actually like one thing aku suka pasal dia lah dengan the whole Iwagakure punya introduction is that kau selalu dengar yang shinobi ni akan complete the mission. Shinobi ni consultant yang paling taat setia, but you don't know to what level until kau tengok Iwagakure ni datang. Dia suruh bunuh diri, okay, check, bunuh diri, tak apa. We are your product, we are your tools kan. So aku suka dia punya introduction ke dalam pulau ni. Pasal apa? Sebab dia juxtaposition dengan Shugen. So Shugen, orang yang anime only still tak tahu power dia apa sebenarnya. Tapi nampak dia just crushing these monsters tanpa masalah. And dia punya creative writing untuk Hell's Paradise dia tak tunjuk the shinobi tu pun dengan bersahaja boleh hancurkan these monsters. Dia pun tak sekuat Shugen. And that makes it interesting pasal dia lagi boleh showcase what a shinobi is all about. Dia pun problem solver. Dia pun ada tak, okay, kita tak ada this inhuman strength. Lepas tu dia pun teamwork lah macam mana. Dia pun end up jadi dengan tactics, dengan manpower, dengan teamwork.
Yes.
So you ada this whole Iwagakure memang led by exceptional shinobi, yang si perempuan tu yang setara-tara Gabimaru ni, yang boleh problem solve walaupun mereka bukan mystical humans tau, just well trained humans. Lepas tu in that part nak compare dengan the actually yang superhuman Shugen macam tu kan. So dia jadi an element yang sangat interesting yang injectkan into the season. In fact aku jangan tambah satu lagi, kemunculan Iwagakure and Shugen onto the island tiba-tiba adds a different dimension. Pasal apa? And aku ingat perasaan ni masa aku baca manga dia pun. Macam Tensen tu semua boleh transform jadi plant monsters lah, jadi kaiju lah apa semua kan. And aku genuinely tak tahu siapa yang raksasa sebenarnya bila Shugen tu datang. Genuinely susah nak cakap.
Yeah, because the demonstration of power by Shugen and his, well, in fact just Shugen full stop, and those two people yang follow him, the muscular girl, sorry aku tak ingat nama, and the kid who are I think just equivalently probably sikit bawah daripada dia. Tapi compared to the other ones that came on the first round who were like killed just like bitches, some of them, you know, and this guy just beaten the bigger, what they call, aku tak ingat nama, the actual name for those monsters in between yang ada kaki for kepala. Shit, tak apalah. Anyway, those monsters.
Doshi lah, apalah.
I think Doshi is the orang
intelligent.
Tapi the one in between. But anyway, tapi itu satu. Tapi but I think the another thing is, one, we were talking about the power system kind of hinted a bit at the latter half or even the end actually of season 1. But I quite like how the exposition for the power system is more, it's done better. Bukan done better, I think because memang masa tu je lah manga tu ditulis di mana mereka akan belajar dengan cara-cara ni pasal what it was. I mean in the subsequent apa episode selepas Shugen dengan the Igawakure arrived, our little gang have started their training session to learn how to use Tao by virtue of Shion realizing that he actually can see it. So it was quite an interesting, nice way of how I think the word I'm looking for is exposition. Pasal kalau kau bayangkan semua dia nak ajar one spot, tunjuk dalam 2-3 episod, kau mungkin lose interest. Because kalau cerita ni, chasing dia quite nice. Dia macam concentrate sikit je masa training episode not up. And they went on to start the mission immediately, and then later on they exposed a bit more of what they had learned in the. Do you think that the pacing of it was quite good that way? I can't remember whether in the manga that was how it was written, but it might be true as well because it's quite nice. They explain as we go along, like why suddenly person X did this, why did person Y did that.
Why the explanation of the power system tu sangat bagus sebab because of a few factors lah. The first factor is the keyword here is breadcrumbs. Meaning masa kau even before kau sampai ke pulau tu pun, masa yang Kudo cakap tadi dia ada battle royale untuk selection tu kan, kau dah nampak there are a few guys and obviously Gabimaru included, dia orang ni bukan manusia biasa. They're not normal human. Dia pun macam as if memang ada abilities. Lepas tu bila dah pergi ke pulau tu, not only kau makin nampak actually got a few people ada abilities, tapi bila dia encounter Tensen, encounter macam battle dengan orang yang pakai Tao, dia orang realize things about their abilities yang might be connected to this Tao thing. So dia setting up all this before they have the exposition. So before exposition tu datang, kau dah macam tangkap yang wait a minute, adakah ninjutsu ni sebenarnya based on Tao? Wait a minute, laki ni buta tapi boleh lawan, is that because of Tao? Lepas tu wait a minute, yang macam this Bakugo looking guy dah kena makan dengan pokok, hidup lagi, in fact they consume the power of the plants. Yang tu pun tak tahu ke? So dia dah letak banyak breadcrumbs and by the time Sean finally explain benda ni, dia satu kau rasa walaupun singkat it clicks pasal dia dah letak the breadcrumbs. Dia dah letak breadcrumbs sikit pasal the tendons, pasal the Tao tu apa, Tao tu datang macam Tao tu pula ada kaitan is life force. Lepas tu life force pula sebab dia bersama dengan ada in everything in nature, dia infused with the elements. Lepas tu dalam ni lah Taoism pun these elements pula ada yang boost each other, ada yang destroy each other. So sebab because of the breadcrumbs, so by the time they bagi exposition, okay, this is the clear layout of the power scale, macam kau dah macam senang nak hadap, tak rasa rush, tak rasa cramp, tak rasa forced exposition. Sebab dia dah tanam di awal-awal. And the best part on top of that, selepas exposition ni pula, yang membuatkan the scene tu jadi lagi best is because dia realistic. You know dia bukannya ass pull. Kenapa? Sebab half the party tak reti juga pakai Tao tu. Walaupun training berapa hari je, macam mana kau nak jadi master of Tao? So they end up walaupun dia dah explain the power scaling tu, they had to improvise. Okay, ada one thing yang kau tak payah train, which is kau punya elemental affinity tau. So kat situ kita try susun yang api jangan jumpa air. Lepas tu metal boleh destroy wood. Kita try guys yang Mamat yang suka duk dissect orang ni, kau metal kan, kita try lah bagi kau jumpa the wood punya elements semua kan. But at least benda ni tak payah train, tapi dia combat ready tau. Tapi yang untuk pengguna tau tu, kita punya dua shinobi ni dah pakai sebab dia punya ninjutsu is basically tau. So dia dah ada basis all along. Shion, dia punya eye sensors dia dah bilang dia dah lama dapat sense the life energy of the world tau. So he's gonna be fine. So because even the outcome of the exposition pun is very realistic and tak cliche. So sebab tu this whole bit pasal explaining the power scaling tu is done masterfully well lah bagi aku.
I think somebody's category. Those creatures are called hojos.
Hojo.
The big monster. Tapi inilah, ni this pentagram. Ini bukan lambang setan, tapi ini adalah explanation to the Tao system. So essentially macam apa dalam Taoism,
Pokemon lah.
Dia percaya, dia dalam kepercayaan tu dia orang, anda pasti pernah dengar konsep yin and yang kan, yang gambar bulat ada macam koma terbalik putih, koma betul hitam tu, because everything ada macam opposite thing to each other, macam it complements each other. Dark complements light, heavy complements light, ringan dan sebagainya, hitam complement putih dan sebagainya, dan and in the opposite way. So it's quite nice lah to see how secara logik dia tak macam pakai hentam je buat this power system. So macam if certain Tao elements akan complement the other element, which is why macam ada satu kita orang buat lawak dalam one of my earlier posts masa nak promote this session was Bochu no Jutsu, which is basically an ability yang kira highest level of making ni lah untuk improve punya tau. Penggunaan tau anda, because dia orang train dari kecil kan, nak kecil nak ajar roman lagi kan. So basically and then while certain Tao actually promotes you and making you better, the other one hinders you, making you worse, which is quite a good system in while you are paired the way you are done so in the group that's allocated by Shion. Because dia dah decide, okay, kita buat dua team, ke kita punya main aim nak ambil the elixir, get a boat and leave this place. At the time when they didn't know that, I think they knew that there might be a second coming, but they wouldn't know what the ramifications are that they will have to face also the Igawakure and so forth. Tapi kan masa kau mention something kan, macam bila kau baca the manga, kau kata macam engkau tak boleh bayangkan now we have all these three groups of people, what can we expect? Because if you think about it, the Tensen, okay, obviously at that time they were all spread out to face the different members of the party. Like Rien ni dia macam kepala kepada Tensen. Tensen ni is the highest level of the sages lah, creations of Lord Tensen yang pretty much rules the roost. They are above the hojos, they are above the doshis and all that. And Rien ni is the chief scientist lah. Kalau tengok muka dia kan, he look genuinely worried, man. Kan dia masa dia, in fact his minions pun bila nak nampak geng-geng Gabimaru ni, kau bodoh lah. Ini dia nampak dah lah, these humans are commandeering the hojos macam kuda. Ya. Dia
tahu ni tak normal ni datang.
bawah 4 tahun, langit tinggi rendah. Aduh, but you know, which makes me, okay, I don't want to jump the gun because we still haven't gone to Harapan section yet. God, we've got all this, pretty much about four volumes of manga left, you know, to watch. But yeah, tapi okay, tadi aku jump the gun a bit by just talking. Tapi what are your thoughts on the, kita ada berapa battle? Satu is the combination of Gabimaru dan Yuzuria melawan RAN. Lagi satu kita ada Shion dan Nurugai versus oh god, what's the name of that? Muhammad muka bunga tu, but that one which is really important. And then the third bunch is actually Gantetsusai, Toma dengan Fuchi lawan this girl-boy twin, Jufa dengan Tofa dengan Chobe. And Chobe is the brother of Toma, which lepas tu dia paling tadah lah. And then tapi bukanlah aku nak macam kita dissect every single fight, tapi do you agree that it was quite nice to see 3 very dissimilar conflicts? Because kalau nak dikatakan penceritaan dalam the fights of these groups are all different, because they've got all different stakes or even values attached to each character dalam cerita ni. I mean, do you have any of your favorite stories dalam 3 battle ni? Or maybe,
of course.
Which one?
Sebab dia first kali je on overall lah, memang aku setuju apa yang cakap, because one of the flavors of orang kata Hell's Paradise is because the writing is good. So dia bukan pasal the fighting dia, sebab bila the writing is good, dia maybe lah orang kata kalau tengok kan fighting dalam Jujutsu Kaisen dari sudut animation lah apa, yang tu memang lagi gila babi, lagi best. Solo leveling, lagi aura farming lah apa contohnya kan. Tapi the fight, so jalan cerita dalam Hell's Paradise, ditarikan is the good writing tau. Sebab from each fight, dia ada something yang poetic about the fights to the character punya growth. So itu yang best Hell's Paradise ni. So macam contoh, bila kita tengok masa Toma kan, dekat Toma punya fight yang dia sekali dengan abang Dragon Blade gitu, yang tu mula-mula is because tunjuk dia punya trust with your brother tau. So dia punya lah sayang abang dia, trust abang dia, they know each other so well. Dia macam dude, he's gonna betray this asshole kan, dah tahu. Later at the same time, yang abang besar gitu pula, abang besar gitu dia reckless, and we know reckless tu kadang-kadang kata it's a bad quality ke, is apa ke, tapi it shows that sometimes when you make the best of what you have, kau boleh overcome unexpected problems. Sebab dia reckless, betul, dia macam shit lah, bodoh lah benda tahun ni, aku tak boleh pakai apa semua kan. Tapi at the end of the day, inspired by Shion and tambah dengan recklessness, you know what, pergi mampus biji mata ni, oh damn, now aku boleh nampak. So cara dia solve the problem, dia buang mata dia sendiri and sekarang dia boleh nampak tahu. So the way he got there is different daripada orang lain, but he got there regardless. So there's lessons to learn situ tau. Lepas tu yang our Shinobi tag team tak payah cerita lah. Baby girl kita finally belajar lesson that, you know, sometimes it's not just about you. Sometimes you need to fight the fight for someone else. And dia pun dapat dia punya character development in that fight. Bila dia boleh bluff, and dia pun ada elemental disadvantage, cuma dia je yang boleh injure dia punya opponent, and she stayed back at a great cost. Which dia kata dia tak pernah buat sekali pun lah hidup dia. So each of those fights, dia bukan saja different, but it means something untuk pertumbuhan watak-watak tu. Good writing. And of course aku punya favorite is abang Dragon Blade kita lah. Sebab dia, aku suka gila cara dia dapat tengok tahu because it's so him. Dia cabut mata dia sendiri, pergi mampus. Aku tak boleh nak bertapa, nak feel the force, nak rasa alam ni, tak boleh. Sebab because he is so strong, dia punya instinct is so honed, you cannot tell him to let go of his instincts and tengok some benda metaphysical tau. So satu cara untuk dia achieve is pergi mampus mata, which is so him. And dia berjaya ke sampai di mana orang lain sampai dengan cara dia. He did it his way tau. So that is macam dia not really character growth tapi character affirmation tau. While orang lain dapat character growth. So macam kau nampak tau all these benda-benda, kau tahu very poetic happening in the different fights, and because of that poeticness, dia jadi benda yang macam Kudo cakap, the fights felt different. Walaupun dia bukan macam gila babi, fake, macam gila-gila, it's just purely good writing.
Yeah, because macam aku macam like you, I've read the manga a while back, and I think I've read the manga sampai habis masa kita bedah season 1 lagi. So aku macam lupa what was the deal with Gantet Susai masa dia punya fight scene tu. I forgot that he actually blinded himself. Yang aku shock tu tengok, wait a sec, what is he doing? Dia punya cangkuk tu dah tajam. And then tunjuk dia tak malu pun. Dia animation just show dalam masa dia tarik tu ada betul lah. Aku macam babi tu. Tapi macam aku gelap campur at the same time. Tapi macam that is so like gila je cool brother.
Lepas tu one more aku lupa cakap. Sorry. Apa? Okay, another thing yang kita kena cakap ke, and then you have to give props to Shion lah. Only one of those guys yang betul-betul master tahu, and that's Shion, and dia bunuh opener dia beratus-ratus kali. Kalau kau bukan Tensen, kau memang lauk lah. Kau takkan last 1 second pun dengan Shion. So yang tu pula pun is a different dimension. Sebab dia tunjuk walaupun dengan dia punya disability, but that became his greatest ability, and he is the best among them sebenarnya.
And then and then like you say, the good writing was okay. This is one of two, which I didn't expect. This was quite emotional masa dia lawan Zujin ni. I think just now apa nama dia Zujin yang the Tensen that I forgot the name of. I'm not sure whether the category was trying to tell us the name. Dia kata Guifa, but Guifa is the boy yang membaca, yang not interested in fighting.
Tak mau lawan.
Yang jumpa apa?
Yang tu pun is a different dimension. Tiba-tiba dia aku memang tak mau lawan.
Asal kiri dengan Mei kan. But anyway, masa dia lawan ni kan, sampai dia berkata, kau gila kau nak buat ni, kau why? To the point, I felt a bit emotional masa dia suruh Nurugai belah, let leave me alone. Lepas tu macam dia tersentak later on like, asal aku nak tinggalkan, dia patah balik. And I thought that was very sad. Tapi yang at the same time, the typical of Sean, because dia kan selalu come up with joke masuk air tak pasal-pasal in the middle of nowhere. Masa Nurugai just jumped on him, pulled him away from the tendrils that were inserted in him and all kind, and then peluk dia to improve his style. Dia kata, budak perempuan tak boleh ni. Apa?
Oh, Kudo. One more thing to tambah tu ni for the overall fights, and kenapa cakap good writing kan. Yang ni lagi best. Bila diorang dah bahagi, dah susun di elemen cantik-cantik, jumpa opponent masing-masing, the Tensen speed up and end up semua orang jumpa yang disadvantage. Macam what? So tiba-tiba the tension kali 10 with just one simple thing. So itu brilliantly done.
Yeah, because nice you mentioned that. I totally kind of forgot about that because just now somebody mentioned tadi dia kata dia pilih I think one of our comments bukan ni ni Wan Faris cakap fight GABIMARU and Yudhriya best juga. Exactly, because Because masa dia datang macam lepas tu dia kata yup, we can actually pretend to make it look like the Tao is here. We change the whole thing because baru dia orang macam oh damn. Tapi lagi satu exposition. Macam mula-mula aku ingat it's an S-pull that is not an S-pull. Macam kan masa at the end of the fight Gabimaru keluar this injection of this flower petal kan, and then they quickly go back and then ada explanation. Then you go like, okay, that's fine. I mean, and that happens to and fro pun. I mean, in the other three fights, the other two fights other than them. So I thought that was quite nice. And again, okay, actually all three has emotional beats, because the other emotional beat I'm going to mention after this is this one was masa Yuzuriha injured gila tu. Because korang kena bear in mind tau, these guys kan masa diorang injured gila babi tu. Aku tahulah ni anime, aku tahulah we've seen it a lot of times in other fight animes like Naruto ke apa ke jenis. You know, you get a cut here. In my line of work, I know what organ this is. It's the liver. The liver is one of the most vascular organs on the, I mean, other than the heart. Dia maknanya vascular tu maknanya dia banyak salur darah. You lose blood, you die. Pretty much. You know, but obviously lah dia ada skill shinobi dia dengan all the lendir dia boleh tolong seal the whole thing. But you know, these buggers are running on adrenaline. At least Gabimaru kena hentak patah kaki, cucuk jantung ke apa, dia punya injection tu dah regeneratekan the whole body. Tapi at the same time it's like
genuinely scared for her. Masa aku first baca dulu,
aku ingat dia mati.
Janganlah mati, tolong lah. Cakap kalau mati aku drop benda ni. Aku macam the writing is so good. Aku tak sedar bila aku macam like genuinely cared for her tau. So macam please lah, tolong lah. Kalau there's anyone nak survive pulau ni, please let it be her. Sampai macam tu.
Bukan kita nak rooting for her just because she was this sexy girl, but she's okay. She is a sexy girl, but she's written as a sexy girl with a heart, and the way that cara. Aku rasa the first time aku macam betul-betul rasa macam dia orang baik, because masa dia dengan her executioner yang pakai spek tu, yang meninggal tu, aku macam oh fuck man.
Dia tunjuk affection lah juga kat dia last kali.
So tu kalau anda gemuk dan pakai spek, jangan risau, awet hot akan minat kau, InsyaAllah. kalau kau ada hati kau yang baik. Anyway, but obviously the thing that I wanted to say was the fight that since now I've said all three fights have emotional links to it. I mean, it's obviously the fight between yang paling tak even sekali lah, Taufa dengan Jufa melawan Toma, Uchi, Kantet Susai and then eventually joined by Jobe. Pasal backstory dia, aku rasa kesian because the girl which is Taufa, dia tak minat benda-benda ni, tapi memang dia orang pun pernah bunuh orang, manusia dan sebagainya, tapi dia tak nak. Macam they were so reluctant, and yet at the same time the elder twin, the boy, albeit both of them can actually interchange, was so protective of her. And then okay, this slightly jumping off tangent sekejap. Kau rasa tak macam each of these monsters, I don't know you play Final Fantasy ke tak, tapi macam it feels like I'm sure all JRPGs have boss fights, tapi boss fight yang jenis monster berelemenkan plant dan flowers ni, I think I've seen some of them in Final Fantasy. It just reminds you it's like in a stage of a game, they have to like at the end of the day you fight the big bosses. It just, I mean,
final form. The final form ini.
Final form kan.
Final form trope kan. Tapi itu design sebab dia very nampak macam one thing lah, since kau dah sentuh, aku suka Hell's Paradise ni is that they have good creature designs.
Yes.
Sebab
you feature guy.
Sebab aku study, macam aku actually studied creature design 101 tau. So dia kata one of the, orang kata kalau kau nak identify benda tu is a good creature design, number one kau kena design dia punya silhouette. So kau tu silhouette meaning outline benda tu. Macam kau tengok benda Pokemon, who's that Pokemon? Kau nampak outline tu, kau dah tahu ni Pikachu, ni Gengar, ni apa. Sebab outline tu yang buat dia ikonik tau sebenarnya. Ini ramai orang tak perasan. So bila kau nak design a creature, kau design silhouette tu dulu, lepas tu baru kau masukkan elemen, anatomy dia apa semua tau. So Hell's Paradise tu, aku tahu dia orang faham benda tu sebab dia, design dia tak ada lah sampai Claymore punya level. Claymore is number 1 undefeated creature design. Tapi Claymore dengan Hell's Paradise ni, dia menggunakan prinsip yang sama. Dia silhouette makhluk dia sangat, kau tengok ini orang kata out of this world. Memang macam sangat surreal punya benda. So which makes benda tu macam, dia one of those things kalau kau tengok cantik benda ni tapi takut that is the Claymore dengan Hell's Paradise punya design macam tu. They have mastered designing dia punya silhouette. So aku memang tabik gila.
Aku nak go off tangent sikit because kita tengah topik ni pasal hang creature feature punya mega fan. Apa Godzilla kan? Godzilla punya girlfriend kan? Godzilla girlfriend. The girl that got in Godzilla -1, the girl that got which metaphorically planted the seed that she may be, what was the name of the monster yang plant based tu? Violante kan? It reminded me of that tau. What's the design for Violante like? Is it very plant like?
Dia pun very iconic. Dia bentuk dia mulut dia macam buaya. Tapi badan dia macam slime climbing up to that buaya jaw. Lepas tu dia ada the tendrils so macam flapping around dia. So macam very memorable silhouette juga.
So back to Jufar dengan Tofa. So by the end
tragic.
It's one of it's a more tragic story, and then it's like one of those things where you would go like damailah kau di sana kind of, utterances you would say to them because aku kesian. Tapi aku macam Wan Faris mention ni, dah lah dia orang kena bunuh orang, tak cukup dengan tu, they have to do it with each other.
Incest.
Aduh.
Sebab korang kena ingat, dia kadang-kadang ramai orang lupa boleh tengok the TENSEN ni. Dia kan duduk dengan RIEN dekat dalam satu pavilion. Dia lagi tinggi daripada Doshi, daripada segala makhluk-makhluk yang lain ni semua. But make no mistakes, pada RIEN, the rest of the TENSEN tu is just high quality lab rat.
Exactly.
But dia last sekali, lagi tinggi, lagi powerful kau punya personal tau, lagi masterful kau punya control of tau. Tapi mengikut dalam kitab-kitab dia orang tu, dia punya study tu, ada beberapa cabang untuk refine tau. So yang mana satu is the best method. So sebab itulah kau Jufar, kau buat ni, Taufa, kau try method ni. So macam unfortunately yang dua orang ni ada juga falsafah mengatakan kalau kau sentiasa not only, sebab kau kena faham, yang ni this all goes back to macam Taoism tau. Taoism ni cakap pasal spiritual balance kan. So kita bayangkan korang ni, bukan saja korang toron each other, kau boleh flip jantina lagi sambil toron each other. And pada asalnya korang datang daripada one womb kan. Kau sebenarnya satu. If that's not balance, aku tak tahu balance tu apa. So toron lah korang dan tengok kau dapat generate banyak tahu. So macam sebenarnya dia ni kesian gila sebab these guys are just high quality lab rats pada RIEN. Itu. That's what you saying.
Because he was showing kan macam masa they were reminiscing when they were younger, yang RIEN had no qualms about making, kau nak do this, kau mati, tough shit. and beings of their level, like you were saying. They were Tencent as well. But obviously back to our friend here. Tapi part ni aku sekali lagi aku lupa. It's like, wow, they crawl back, man, because she did regenerate, albeit half plan, and actually dia masuk ke dalam bangko tu, and I was like, wow, that was the best thing ever, because macam mula-mula aku tak perasan bila aku tengok dekat balik, itu kepala dia, muka menjerit. I was like, fuck, man, very nicely done, man, very nicely done. Design
tadi aku just nak refresher one thing. So aku nampak ada orang komen tanya dia orang ni tumbuhan ke kan? So to explain benda tu, basically bila dia orang pergi ke pulau ni nak buat eksperimen. Dia nak buat eksperimen untuk nak cari eternal life, elixir tu kan. So cara dia orang nak prolong life, dia orang fikir is to combine life force dia orang dengan kehidupan lain. So masa early stage eksperimen dia pun cuba combine depa punya tau dengan tau binatang. So untuk kehidupan tambah kehidupan, double kehidupan. So asal prinsip dia. So sebab tu pulau tu penuh dengan yang segala doshi lah, yang segala apa pelik-pelik. Sebab dia untuk gabung. Try gabung ikan dengan buaya dengan orang. Try gabung orang dengan burung dengan another orang ke apa. So sebab tu dia jadi banyak binatang pelik-pelik ni. And semua tu gagal. Sebab kalau kau combine tau binatang dengan orang dengan binatang, okay, dia kan jadi kau monsterify. Tapi at the same time kau macam jadi bukanlah hidup forever pun. Maybe prolong your life, tapi kau jadi mindless, kau jadi beast. So the theory is that maybe kau ada dua consciousness competing dengan each other sampai kau jadi mindless kan. So sebab tu RIEN Titia dapat a light bulb moment. Apa kata kita try combine dengan something yang tak ada consciousness, but sebenarnya is also hidupan. Pokok tu dia orang start try combine diri dengan pokok. And bila dia combine diri dengan pokok, dia orang dapat evolve, prolong life. Tapi kalau tahu dia orang cukup kuat, dia takkan jadi mayat berbunga tu, dia akan jadi in control. In fact, dia boleh transform jadi monster tapi in control. So sebab tu finally dia pun stick dengan okay, gabung tahu kita dengan pokok, that is the answer. So next level, jom cari cara pula untuk naikkan lagi kita punya tahu. So kita boleh bagi lagi hidup lama, lagi better ability controls, lagi boleh our mind akan stay walau kita transform apa semua. Itu yang dia orang tengah buat, and sebab itu dia orang stick with combining dengan pokok. Tu
and then interestingly kalau korang tengok kan masa dia orang lawan pun dia orang asyik sebut kita orang punya ni tak complete lagi, kita orang punya immortality tak immortal lagi. Tapi no, thanks to Bakugo or Azar Chome, dia dengan muka stone dia dissect lah aku, roman lah aku. And then RIEN now realize, wow, we've now got his Tao and our Tao. We can make the elixir work properly, and hence the new plan of actually spreading the box around the world to make more tan, and which is what is happening if what will happen if they will go unobstructed, and in a way thanks to the events that's happening, that plan will not be happening at all by using the bangko to spread all those little insects to make everybody into tan. Aduh. What was I going to say? So, I mean, aku rasa aku nak macam, I think we've quite exhausted pretty much the story, because actually I think our next bit of the discussion is more towards the final episode, which tells us what's going to happen in the next bit. So I think kita akan pergi ke segmen seterusnya, which is harapan. Okay. Harapan. Just a quick one before kita ke harapan. As you can see that all this little dekat kita punya overlay ni, animation ni semua aku pinjam. Yang ni pinjam daripada ending dia, which is by a band called Queen Bee. Ending tune dia by Queen Bee. Basically Queen Bee ni is a band. Dia punya vocalist has JIGOKURAKU. Sorry ya. Tadi dia vokalis dia lelaki, tapi vokalis dia nama dia JOJO. Nama lagu dia Personal. Dia macam kalau korang ingat cerita Fifth Element. Cerita lama lah ni, ada Bruce Willis dengan Mia Jovovich. Kalau anda ingat, ada one scene tu dia pergi ke planet Floston, lepas tu ada tengok ada penyanyi yang tangan 4 warna biru tu. Because dalam badan dia simpan the actual stones to find the fifth element pun kan. Dia dalam cerita tu, perempuan tu dia ada vocal range dia macam lelaki sampai ke perempuan. So this singer of Queen V ni, JOJO ni, has a similar kind of vibe to it. Dia macam ni lah, senang cakap. Aku tak nak judge, tak nak apa. Dia trans. So kalau kau tengok dia ni jantan ke perempuan ke, dia trans. Tu dia punya pasal. Tapi opening untuk cerita ni is by Tatsuya Kitani, collab dengan siapa tu, Baby Metal, which I quite like, man, the song. Because mula-mula aku dengar macam dia dengan Su-chan je kot. Tapi yalah, dalam Baby Metal suara utama dia is Su. So kalau anda melihat video untuk lagu Baby Metal dengan Tatsuya Kitani ni, memang all three members of Baby Metal in it. And the song is called A Faint Flower. Rightly so lah, cerita pasal bunga. Kasuka no Hana. Okay. So yes, and just another trivia, Tatsuya Kitani ni adalah bass player untuk kumpulan Yorushika, which is Utaite / Vocaloid group. You know, the Japanese groups in the last 10 years, yang kalau kau tengok konsert, diorang nampak siluet dia macam Ado. YOASOBI used to be like that. So ni baru, I mean, if you like J-pop / rock, the Vocaloid movement has actually introduced to us quite a new way of, tunes performed by Japanese group. Check them out if you've not checked out Vocaloid groups. So macam, in fact, some of them have performed in Malaysia. YOASOBI dah datang Malaysia, Ado datang Malaysia. Back in the home country, they play big arenas. Datang Malaysia main Zap. So anyway, back to the harapan lah pada ni. Kita disajikan dalam episod ke-24 dengan pretty much now it's like a bloody Mexican standoff, and we'll see what's going to happen next, because pretty much our motley group of criminals and shinobis are all still alive, regardless of how bad they got hurt, versus the Igawakure, versus the 3 Asaemons. Aku tu 3 je kan datang. Dia tak bawa lagi kan. Dia bawa the 3 Asaemons dengan
Igawakure tu banyak dah backup apa. So
kan. And then
I think that guy pun datang lah, that Jika yang Mamat yang minat malah kerja
dan minat jantan.
Boleh tak kita balik?
Itu dia, and obviously versus the Tensen and whatever left of it, and the big new Violante, and of course a bunch of their doshis lah. So yeah, I mean, kami yang dah baca buku tu, kami tahu lah apa cerita, tapi we want to see how they going to tell us that story. Dan harapan saya, I mean, macam kalau adalah, if the sebelum nak preempt the harapan from my point of view, ni best buat wayang ke atau buat TV? Aku, dengan pendapat aku adalah buat TV, pasal cerita dia too convoluted for anybody to pick it up as film, because for me, for a film to work, you need to be a story that can be told as if it's a standalone film. Macam Reaksi, ramai orang cakap Reaksi tu kau tak payah tahu, which actually I can tell you this, Munif, bukan aku nak macam change your mind or whatever. Personally, kalau hang rasa macam tengok free ke, if you got 1.5 hours, tengok lah, it's quite nice. Dia it will remind you of Fujimoto. But
okay lah.
Because you can watch it in isolation. You can watch it in isolation and pretend that everything else never happened. But I do not think JIGOKURAKU in its complexities can be a standalone film.
So like I said, benda yang aku kata keyword tadi, breadcrumbs. Dia jenis yang good writing, dia tabur breadcrumbs throughout the story. So kalau kau nak ambil dia in isolation, dia akan banyak benda yang lost in translation.
Dah lah wayang orang nak buat macam biasalah. I mean, in buzz pop, every time when people review films from a reviewer's point of view, you know, it's not just the story, you want to make money, and the thing is, what's the point of actually rehashing or you know, like sebelum anda menonton film ni, tolonglah menonton 2 season of anime atau begini, for the first 10 minutes we're going to introduce you all the concepts. It's not going to be fun. You might as well make it another 12 episodes from those 4 books, and then people can still have time to actually go. Macam aku pun tengok One Piece season 2 lah. Maknanya sebelum start One Piece season 2 tu, bagi habis lah season 1 yang aku tak tengok itu. So it works. So I think lah, I mean, I don't season should be.
Kalau aku pula, TV, I mean, because you think about it, some of the greatest things in pop culture pun bukan pada silver screen pun. One Piece, live action, Breaking Bad, Sopranos lah, what have you, tak lah aku benda yang lain yang aku suka tengok tu kan. So, macam just because it's TV, doesn't mean dia tak most of anime pun has been iconic. Dekat kau punya laptop pun dah iconic lah. So it doesn't desperately need that treatment lah. So on aku punya harapan pula untuk next season is aku nak dia replicate the feeling yang aku dapat masa aku baca the last arc of the story tau, which is high tension. Sebab bila Shugen and dia punya asshole army dah datang ke final battle dalam otak aku macam, you know what, last kali korang sama-sama manusia kan, macam settle kan. Sebab aku macam tolonglah bunuh the Tensen dulu, lepas tu korang settle lah sesama korang, macam mana korang nak settle. Tapi disebabkan Shugen ni macam cakap, dia scammer sampai ke tahap dia dah jadi gila. Dia memang no mistake akan memburukkan keadaan like so badly. So jadi the tension yang aku rasa macam aku rasa baca manga tu, aku nak that tension in season 3, because sekarang ni you have a chance to do something different tau. Pasal banyak anime is about ni lawan ni lawan ni, good versus bad, you know, pirate versus marine, ni versus ni semua kan. Tapi the finale of Hell's Paradise dia triple threat tau, kau nak gunakan the wrestling punya term tau. It's a triple threat battle. You have 3 sides. Macam one side yang kita punya heroes ni, Gabimaru semua, is just fucking kita just nak selamat, nak keluar di sini, go back to our goddamn families. Lepas tu kau ada these literal monsters yang nak world domination, and at the same time kau ada this bunch of idiot humans yang datang sambil menunggang monster, and dia orang lah yang paling gila of the group. Aku sekarang ni, what's gonna happen now? That tension aku nak. That should be for season.
Yeah, Shugen's underling. Pasal apa? Aku tak suka nak describe benda tanpa ada nama. Pasal unfortunately dia punya 2 ekor tu pun macam dia juga. Like especially the girl. Apa nama dia? Ya, Yuchi Fujatan. Is it Kiyomaru? Tak juga.
Aku tak ingat nama Jepun tu susah.
The girl.
Aku panjang aku ingat.
Because dia masa dia jumpa Zagiri, dia macam I found you. Tapi at the time dia buka buku. Tapi kau punya kawan ni jahat kan? And then kita orang kena bunuh orang kawan-kawan kita yang tolong orang jahat. So macam, okay now I'm gonna kill you bitch. I'm like, why? Yang macam budak kecil tu is just the psycho as Shugen pun. Tapi macam dah memang Tapi itulah so itulah that's unlike other animes, people tend to have the studio sometimes, I guess macam setengah anime macam My Hero Academia, because dia tahu dia punya cerita popular and people don't want to wait too long or whatever, because there was no indication at the end of episode 12 in which studio Mappa buat pengumuman. So far dia ada pengumuman macam pop-up store dekat Jepun, dan tu semua ada lah kalau anda pengikut the account JIGOKURAKU dekat Twitter/X. So we have no idea kalau dia nak ikut pattern lama, kalau 2 tahun tunggulah kau 2028 kot kan. So it would be nice if they do it earlier lah. Biasalah semua orang nak want everything done yesterday instead of waiting. Especially macam orang, I think orang macam kita orang kot, because kita dah habis lama pula tu, macam Chainsaw Man lah. So yeah, so I have seen a few questions. Kita akan quickly go over a Q&A. We'll try to do it quick. Let me just change it. Aku suka tukar sikit punya. Okay, soalan pertama, which is not a soalan but probably just echoing what I said lah, daripada One Faris 7 result out, you should watch Munif dengan song lagu tembak dengan format memang sesuai for movie, better than Demon Slayer, Limited Castle dan K-pop. Demon Hunter need more recognition. Kepada anda yang pernah mengikuti kami punya stream last year, watch out for Crunchyroll Awards. Kami mungkin buat a small watch party. So this is a little recommendation from one of our viewers about to watch Rizzy Arc. Okay.
Kau dekat Netflix ke apa ke, tengok.
Yelah. One Faris sekali lagi, season 3 final season lah kan? Ya.
Sepatutnya lah. Sepatutnya.
Kau nak stretch apa banyak mana lagi. So itulah. So that was a quick one. Lagi tu. Mana lagi tu? Ini mungkin Jufa dan daripada One Faris, Jufa dan Taufa less evil Tenser lah kan. Diorang tak enjoy berbunuh human dan yeah, we did mention it now. And itulah terpaksa do all the Boshu practice for the Tau. So yeah, like we mentioned already just now, dah itu
they are lab rats.
They are lab rats. Takut kat RIEN.
They are not free. Sebenarnya kalau orang kata in another life kan, dia pun nak je jadi proper siblings, maybe dating other people properly, protect each other, have a happy life. Yang lain tu pun bukan suka duduk lang gelap hari-hari nak buat all these repetitive things untuk raise kau punya Tau, produce high quality tan, countless failed experiments. So aku memang pada pendapat aku lah, kalau boleh dia pun tak nak pun buat benda ni. The only one yang memang no matter the cost aku akan complete benda ni is RIEN. Yang lain semua benda kat pulau tu termasuk Tencent is humble. So sebenarnya memang kesian jugalah dia orang.
And then bukan aku nak spoil, tapi macam obviously RIEN is not the boss. Dia one person, tapi so far kita tak nampak dia lagi. I don't think dia dah bagi tahu who or what
dia. Aku cakap macam ni lah. And even nanti kau kata eventually RIEN pun is beholden to something. Dia pun sebenarnya is a slave to dia punya destiny. Tengok.
Nanti korang tengok lah kan. So next one daripada Wan Faris lagi, SHUGEN bagi pedang tu tak sharp sebab nak bagi musuh dia lagi menderita sebab rakan assignment dia orang mati. Kau ingat perangai buat pedang dia gerigi-gerigi ni macam siapa? Do you know who I'm talking about? Babi Inosuke. Gila
Nama tengoklah at the same time dia tumpulkan pedang dia sebab nak seksa orang. At the same time bila senior dia kau hajar, dia geram tapi macam hormat senior. Tak boleh kau nak aku hormat kau senior walaupun perangai kau macam ni. So macam dude. Kau dah gila tu. Dia rasa dia just. Tu masalah. Dia memang rasa dia baik, dia follow the code, I am just.
Okay, Wan Faris sekali lagi nak tanya panelis, okay ke Hell's Paradise Season 2 and JJK Season 3? MAPA release date dekat-dekat sama bulan pula tu, adakah MAPA nak tirikan Hell's Paradise? Aku macam I drop JJK dari Season 1 lagi. Tapi although now knowing that it's finished and I actually have collected the manga, albeit a few volumes missing, aku dah macam take a soft spot to one thing. Ada niat nak duduk balik, tengok balik dari start. Tapi berbalik kepada whether ada MAPA nak diri ke apa, I think it's a matter of scheduling ya. Bukannya team sama pun. Lagi tu one more thing yang aku rasa yang mungkin things will do well for MAPA in future. Aku tak ingat masa tu dia buat reference to JJK ke atau benda lain, because satu benda yang dia orang nak cakap is sekarang kita dah nampak perubahan yang bukanlah ketara tapi baik lah towards MAPA's produce of late, sebagai contohnya JIGOKURAKU ni berbanding dengan apa kita tengok masa season first. In fact dulu macam kalau Amber dulu masa kita orang buat session Bedah, dia pun cakap dulu ada setengah tu, which is I've seen as well on Twitter, and especially from people yang memang otaku animation. Dia orang cakap setengah some of the episode literally siap hours before broadcast. Kau boleh bayangkan, tak hours pun ada setengah tu tak habis pun. Tak apalah, tuturlah, tunjuk je. Nanti masa jual Blu-ray tu kita dah repair. Because lagi tu anda akan tengok dekat Twitter atau dekat social media is basically people making comparisons of what the Blu-ray looks like, because they tend to repair a lot by the time yelah Blu-ray jual kan. So sampai ke begitu sekali. Tapi satu benda masa orang nak produce anime ni, dalam selalunya macam kalau kita fikir secara logik, macam katalah anime kita ada like Monster, dia buat produk dia, or let's say kat Hollywood you have Disney buat produk dia, Hanna-Barbera zaman 70-an buat produk dia. Dekat Jepun kan dia walaupun kadang-kadang kata benda ni diadaptasi oleh studio Bones, diadaptasi oleh MAPA, diadaptasi oleh whatever studio, it's not them that make the decision most of the time. Satu contoh studio yang bukan tak dengar cakap orang, memang dia tak akan buat in collaboration dari segi produksi adalah use photo dalam untuk Demon Slayer kan, dia orang je, because setiap anime lain dia orang ada apa dipanggil kejawatan production committee. If you look at senang tak payahlah baca, you unless you can read Japanese, I don't either, but buka je Mal, anda akan lihat bawah studio tu buat, tapi production komiti dia akan terdiri daripada berbagai pihak. So it can be the studio, it can be a music production company like Avex atau Sony Music, publisher of the manga. So kalau manga tu Shueisha ke atau Kodansha ke, dia ada stake tau, because all these companies ada stake in the production. So they will have a say. We want it like this, we want it yesterday, we want it to be slowed down a bit or whatever. So MAPA tengah plan, dia kata in our future production kita orang nak buat macam Ufotable. Dia nak macam dia buat semua. Pasal as they say lah, dalam bahasa Inggeris ada pepatah kata too many cooks spoil the broth, right? So let's hope lah MAPA akan go into better production in the future lah, because despite the fact they've had some bad rap lah in the past. Because at the end of the day pun dalam bab-bab kerja anime tak dapat duit atau macam kaldai kerja pun semua studio buat. I'm not saying that you're supposed to do that, but the thing is it's not a MAPA thing only. It's just that MAPA yang obviously in the past few years lah orang macam make it, but that's how it is lah. Okay, so berbalik kepada, so I don't think it's an anak tiri kind of thing. So it's more scheduling more than anything else. That was my long-winded answer to that. Unless you got anything else to add, Munif?
Aku punya take on it macam ni lah. Sebab I think they believe, which is aku pun believe juga, no one really gives a shit about the studios lah. Sebenarnya, kalau kau cakap ada general fans. So at the end of the day, kalau kau suka JIGOKURAKU, kau akan tengok. Kalau kau suka Jujutsu Kaisen, kau akan tengok. Kalau kau suka both, kau akan tengok both.
Dua-dua.
So that's why aku fikir macam it doesn't matter kalau same studio keluarkan ni at the same time ke apa ke. Sebab macam you will watch what you watch. Macam aku pun, even though aku big otaku juga gitu, tapi some of the times aku tak ingat, memang tak peduli pun studio apa buat apa. So tengok, JIGOKURAKU, animation improve lah, whoever yang buat kau, aku macam tengok lah. Alamak lah tu, at the same time keluar sama ada anime nak tengok RIEN, nak tengok Sentence to be a Hero apa semua kan. Aku macam alamak, macam mana nak pilih ke? Aku macam tengok 3-4 in one night. Aku macam so aku rasa that's why dia orang pun tak kisah saya benda tu. Sebab kalau wayang aku tahu risky sebab dia lagi banyak kos, masa, logistics, apa semua. So kau kan maybe dah sebulan, takkan kau tengok 8 movie sebulan kan. But kau boleh tengok 8 anime sehari, no problem.
24 minit pun.
Dia macam don't have that problem lah. So that's why tak kisah sangat. Walaupun same time lah, from the same studio.
Okay, Wan Faris, kalau kita orang buat competition, siapa paling banyak dapat bagi soalan dapat hadiah, dia boleh menang. Tapi sorry saya tak ada hadiah. Ni mungkin related to the subject we mentioned in the news bite lah. Dari Wan Faris sekali, kenapa mangaka baru, I guess baru in the sense is zaman ini punya lah, semua ending diorang tak suka. Macam My Hero Academia, Attack on Titan, JJK, Chainsaw Man, ramai orang tak suka. Pendapat penulis, pendapat aku, walaupun aku tak admit to have read all, aku dah baca MHA sampai habis, Chainsaw Man aku dah baca sampai habis, yang lagi 2 tu aku tak baca. Tapi in general, I think it's just that because sekarang kita nampak ramai orang tak suka pasal social media. I mean, siapa kata orang tak suka One Piece? Ada je kot. Siapa orang tak suka Feast of the North Star? Mana kita tahu kan, dah mantu kan. Mungkin ada orang tak suka. So, tapi whatever it is, and lagi itu, things were few and far between those days. So, nak kata in old anime / manga were better than the ones today, mungkin there were better ones, and then when there's few and far between, dia nampak lah problem. The day sekarang macam Munif pun cakap nak tengok, kena tengok 8 anime satu malam. Dulu 8 anime tu is for the whole year's worth of seasonal anime for 4 seasons. Dua, you know, I'm talking about 40 tahun lepas lah kot. Zaman uncle budak-budak lagi. So I think it's due to the volume and due to the fact that it's more visible lah to people now. Have you got any comments on this question, answers?
I do have thoughts pasal this trend on hating on orang kata manga punya ending zaman sekarang kan. Aku agree dengan Kudo punya point pasal that dia social media satu, sebab kau tengok ramai tak suka, you know what, aku pun tak suka. Sebab maybe kita bukan macam tu, tapi ramai orang yang kebiasaan macam tu, kau akan dipengaruhi kan. Lepas tu the other thing yang macam Kudo punya point tu, which also aku agree, is kita spoiled for choice lah. Sebab kita macam banyak gila kau boleh, aku rasa yang aku otaku hidden gems yang orang yang aku nama pun tak kenal. So bila kau spoiled for choice, kau jadi kadang-kadang walaupun benda tu kalau dia in isolation, orang kata this is the best shit aku pernah baca, tapi disebabkan benda tu pula ada lagi 20 benda yang sama genre dengan dia, tiba-tiba macam you know what, kau number 18 lah di kalangan 20 ni. So spoiled for choice tu satu. Tu yang tu poin-poin Kudo lah. Poin yang aku nak tambah pula pada isu ni, kenapa aku rasa ni berlaku, the 2 points yang aku nak tambah is ada 2 point from my side. Number 1 is expectations. Number 2 is genre. So aku akan explain now. Kenapa cakap expectations is that benda ni self-inflicted by the mangaka sebenarnya to a certain extent. Sebab kau obviously naikkan the expectations towards the fans, macam as if kau tengah set up sesuatu, tiba-tiba kau tak follow through dengan benda tu, dan memang orang akan kecewa tau. So aku bagi contoh macam My Hero Academia kan. Dia tagline dia literally, this is the story of how I became the greatest hero in the world. Masa start lo, lah tu last kali.
Yes.
You said it.
Yeah.
You said it.
Yeah.
So lepas tu last kali kau kerja a desk job, kau jadi cacat, kau kena cuck dengan best friend kau sendiri. Lepas tu dia lah dengan Uraraka Bakugo duk pergi buat mission sekali, dia orang semua jadi rank number 1, rank berapa, kau jadi tai yang duk mengajar je. So lepas tu you mangaka dia sendiri tahu dia F up, duk keluar lah all this extra content lah.
Tapi ingat Bisman nanti.
Lepas tu sekarang baru kau nak retcon kan. So why did you do that in the first place? Kau bayang macam ni ya. Kau bayang Luffy tak jadi Pirate King lah sekali.
Oh shit man. Lepas 20 tahun.
So macam aku faham kadang-kadang kita nak subvert expectations, kita tak nak lah cerita tu macam tu direct. I understand. But that's why kalau kau nak buat that outcome, you need to make it a bit ambiguous awal-awal, macam boleh terjadi, tak boleh terjadi macam mana. Tapi bila kau tengok, I'm gonna be king of the pirate, I'm gonna be king of the pirate, I'm gonna be Hokage, I'm gonna be Hokage. Lepas tu last kali kau buat panggil Fujimoto, aku seni kan, aku fucked up kan, tak dapat. Lepas tu kau ingat orang nak suka benda tu. Orang memang tak suka lah. So that's what happened with My Hero Academia. Lepas tu macam lepas tu expectations. Lepas tu macam Attack on Titan pula. And don't get me wrong, aku suka ending Attack on Titan. Tapi macam aku faham kenapa ramai orang tak suka. Sebab aku rasa the thing about the past kan, orang rasa benda tu macam asshole sebab dia jadi kat ujung-ujung. Dia sebenarnya Eren fucked Eren selama ni. Dia sendiri dia dah tahu dah semua kena end in tragedy. So sebab tu lah aku buat macam ni. So people find that hard to buy tau. And people find that hard to buy sebab apa? Sebab it's an expectation yang Hajime sendiri buat lah. Sebab kau awal-awal tunjuk, look, this guy, I'm gonna kill all Titans, avenge my mama, I'm gonna kill all Titans. Orang sampai, Eren, you need to relax. No, aku akan destroy the world, kill all Titans. Siapa suka Titan aku bunuh. Lepas tu last sekali, sebenarnya selama ni akulah yang fuck diri aku. Lepas tu orang macam, what? So sebab tu yang pasal Chainsaw Man, aku tak payah cerita. Jujutsu Kaisen pun it's the same thing. It's mangaka kau yang set the expectation. Sebab Jujutsu Kaisen lagi best. Mangaka dia sendiri bipolar yang
jangan spoil lah. Aku tak
aku tak spoil. Tapi these are all characters yang sedang ada. But as the series went, Dia jadi macam bipolar gila. Dia macam kejap nampak macam Yuji main character, kejap nampak Yuta main character, kejap macam Gojo main character, and kadang-kadang Sukuna macam main character. So last kali siapa main character kau? Last kali semua facet of the fandom jadi frustrated. Sebab you yourself pun tak establish who's the main character of the show. That's the biggest problem Jujutsu Kaisen. So basically itu first point aku lah, which is you effed up the expectation.
Munif will come back.
And the next point dia berkait dengan first point aku. Kan aku cakap kau naikkan expectations and you let them down. Okay? And then maybe orang akan counter point aku cakap, takkan semua cerita nak bagi what macam fans want, nak disuap, nak bagi S macam nampak sangat so obvious kan. I understand that. Tapi this is the second problem. Aku cakap apa tadi? Genre. Dalam dunia manga dan anime ni, you have genres. Kau ada shoujo, kau ada shonen, lepas tu kau ada everything else in between lah apa semua kan. Macam lagi satu macam Kingdom tu je seinen kan. Seinen tu you have all this shit in between kan. So bila kau buat shonen, and most of this aku anggap is shonen lah. When you do shonen, kau janganlah tiba-tiba nak buat akulah terpaling fuck up, akulah terpaling joker. No, shonen is young boy tengok kita berjaya, tengok Ultraman every episode bunuh the monster. That's the genre. So takkan aku tengok The Great British Bake Off tiba-tiba the Godzilla datang. Macam is the genre. So kalau kau nak buat seinen, kau pergi buat seinen. Tapi ni macam kau My Hero Academia, all these kids sama-sama bantras kejahatan. Shonen, last kali kau kena cup, kau jadi cacat, kau tak jadi number one hero, kau jadi sampah behind the desk. So macam this is not what I ordered. Aku tengok shonen. Apa benda semua ni? So you ruin the expectations of your fans. And the fans are rightly angry sebab expectation dia tak dipenuhi because they watched this exact category, and this category usually delivers this certain experience. You a shonen, act like it. Kalau tak, kau tak payah buat shonen. Kau buatlah some fucked up punya cerita lah. Kau buat cerita macam berserk, semua orang kena rogol, semua orang kena bunuh. Kau buat macam My Hero Academia, artwork dia semua orang lagi adult, everyone gets raped, everyone get killed. Dan kau buatlah ending macam mana pun, tak nak siapa akan complain. No one complain about berserk, jadi klasik kot. Because that's the genre. That's the expectations met. So when you do shonen, you cannot do lah this bullshit. That's why orang kecewa. It's simple as that.
Okay, one final actually ada follow-up question for you. Since you are on it. Between Fujimoto and Gege, kau prefer which one, Munif?
Opinion. Aku terus terang cakap lah. Tak, it's so easy. It's Gege for me. Sebab dia last kali, aku rasa, at least Gege, dia macam, aku dah cakap tadi aku punya perbandingan lah. It's different bila aku nampak kau cuba nak creatively achieve something, but you fell short. Benda tu kita boleh analyse tau. That's GG for me. Aku tahu he tries to make the best characters, makes the best story, makes the best epic moments. Aku rasa they just sometimes they overthink and they bipolar with who is the main character of his show. Dia jadi tak fokus. Tu macam kelemahan dia kan. We know dia boleh buat masterpiece. Tapi sebab again ni pendapat aku, tapi sebab dia tak tahu lah ego ke, dia dah macam termakan hype sendiri ke, aku kan Mr. Fucked Up, aku kan Mr. Oh my god I love this character, oh my god boleh mati boleh masa. So dia macam fuck the story, fuck continuity, fuck logic. Aku nak kau cakap aku Fujimoto Mr. Fucked Up. So macam ending bodoh. Biasa aku kan seni, aku kan fucked up. Watak ni mati tak ada sebab. Mati dengan demon bodoh. Janji macam movie Melayu zaman 90s, ending mimpi, whatever. Aku fucked up kan? Aku seni kan? So I hate that so much more. I hate that so much more bandingkan GG yang I think he tried tapi just ada kelemahan in his, dia tak fokus sana sini sikit, but he tried. But Fujimoto, we know you're good, but you choose not to because there's this corporate identity to yourself yang kau nak maintain now to the public. So okay.
I think this is from UCID. Kudo ada follow Kagurabachi. Aku tahu it's a good one. I have the first volume. Aku tak baca lagi. I think dia ada a few volumes out by now. Tapi and then also we are hearing stories that we are going to get it among anime. Tapi aku satu benda aku risau bila benda-benda anime nak keluar, bila manga dia baru sikit je baru volume yang wujud. Takut I mean bukan takut ke apa, tapi macam just in case lah cerita tak habis ke apa, because anything can happen. Yalah, anything can happen to
funny thing you say that, bro. Bro, it's funny thing you say that because Kagurabachi ni anime update dia pun tak konsisten. Tu aku risau.
So personally I prefer for it to be inconsistent. Bagilah dia keluar 10 volume dulu. At least macam Sakamoto. Actually one example is actually Sakamoto. It actually came out relatively quick, but actually by now Sakamoto punya manga, I think dia punya mangaka very quick. Maknanya dia tak pernah ada rehat ke apa. So I think dia dah ada 20 volumes lah by now. So by the fact that it's now got a third season out later on, that's fine. So itu je lah, because but then again ni mungkin kita tu lagi title yang I want to talk. Bukan aku delay, tapi memang aku tak sempat tengok betul-betul lagi. Gachiakuta, that's relatively new as well. Have you watched till the end? Gachiakuta yang tampah tu.
I've watched till the end and aku dah baca sampai latest. And actually Gachiakuta ni macam aku rasa Gachiakuta ni lagi tak konsisten update dia dari Kagurabachi. Actually Kagurabachi, you know, I change it. Actually Kagurabachi is, dia bukan tak konsisten, tapi kadang-kadang nampak artwork dia tak konsisten. So, mangaka dia pernah macam, I think he suffers a bit because of the pressure and the time constraint now. So dia macam, dia konsisten juga delivery dia time wise, tapi kadang-kadang nampak artwork dia suffer. And then one time tu sampai viral, orang tunjuk so memang jadi teruk gila, jadi lukisan yang memang tak rendered langsung lah apalah. But yang tu Kagurabachi lah. But Gachiakuta memang tak konsisten update manga.
I mean, other than the fact aku bab cerita sampingkan macam you read in social media about how her relationship with the fans sounds a bit bukan teruk, tapi I think it's mostly fans yang outside Japan, because people are trying to impose on their apa mungkin virtue signaling lah. hang mesti apa non-binary kan. Dia kata, aku perempuan lah. Tapi just because she looks the way that she does. So, but yalah, you're bearing in mind you're dealing with fans who are probably belum akhir balik lagi, so perhaps and the way that they are taught in America. Sorry, that's just me being one-sided uncle boomer talking. But okay, we just want to press on actually. Daniel Kim mention ni earlier on lah tadi. Munif ada review OPLA season 2 ke tadi? Yes, he did. If you want to rewind the video and watch it, by all means do so. It was quite a nice, and he's done it also on Buzzpop's one of Buzzpop videos prior to this. Aku tak ingat bulan, I think from last month, tapi tak ingat which week. You'll find it lah.
One thing I'll say, so ada benda yang aku tak address sebab macam Daniel sebut about the fight scenes. It's true. Aku berharap kita dapat tengok more practical style effects with Luffy, walaupun yalah dia banyak pakai stretchy power, so itu terpaksa pakai VFX. Nothing you can do about it. Tapi aku nak tengok sebab macam dalam manga pun, walaupun dia banyak pakai dia punya stretchy powers, but the fight tu macam lagi choreograph tau. So aku harap nak tengok whoever the hell it is yang tengah working on Makenyu and Zoro punya scenes, I need you to be on for Luffy punya scene juga bila dia lawan. So aku agree dengan kau lah. Walaupun dia pakai special effect, but you can choreograph the special effect so better. Dekat manga dah ada the reference kan. So just follow, I guess.
Yeah, I think I mean, as for what I know, when you it's interesting that you mentioned that, is because macam Makan You, because obviously he's done martial arts before in either in real life as part of his preparation as an actor, and the fact that he does it in his previous film. And tak salah aku untuk season 2 dipanggil dia punya gang, you know, yang train dia dalam Rurouni Kenshin semua tu. So that's why dia buat joke macam we did the scene in the Whiskey Peak punya bar tu yang lawan 100 assassins tu in 6 days, but I had only 6 hours to train for it, was the joke. But
no problem.
And then dia kata no problem. So when his son instructor or whatever it was that came from Japan did it with him, dah tahu dah he can do a lot of stuff anyway. I mean, tak payah buat gempak pun, these Westerners may look at it and go, oh yo. So we don't need even to practice hard. But I think compared to somebody from Mexico who's probably just, and you know, he probably needs to work 6 times as hard as Makan You lah to do it. But that doesn't mean that he shouldn't be doing it. But yeah, it's also okay. This is just quickly just nitpicking. I mean, memanglah people ada live semua. Macam aku tengok in between season 1 and 2 ada dia buat this video. I think Inaki Godoy went on a 80-day sailing trip in the Caribbean. But you go like, ayalah kan, macam korang ada masa buat benda-benda extra ni. So but then again, you know, perhaps yalah, but what can we, I mean, what do I know anyway? Perhaps you should be learning. I mean, it depends lah what other stuff that he'll be doing, because I've not obviously read the manga. Okay, I don't think we have any more questions that I have start, although we have some new questions, and I think VID here saja nak menganjing kau ending kaiju. Oh, actually tak, dia tak baca pun, dia dah berhenti, dia buang terus, so dia tak baca pun. Unless you did.
I actually read until the end. I baca. That's why I hate it.
Oh,
bodoh. The most
Biadi
disappointing manga lah sejarah manusia.
Biadi cakap setuju tentang JJK. And he also missed
bipolar.
Season 3 of Attack of Titan. Oh, Wan Faris kata Oda akan subvert expectation bagi yang jadi King of the Pirates.
Baru kau tahu lah.
Apa ni? Okay, I think we've done the questions. I think yeah. Thanks for the question, guys. Terima kasih. Let me just adjust things a bit. Go back to this and make it like this. Yeah. Oh, is it still behind you? It is. Kena ganti. Aku kena cari lah cara nak make things. La ilaha illallah Muhammadar Rasulullah. Rasa macam tak reti pakai StreamYard. We're done. We do that. Get rid of that comment for the finishing bit. Mana komen yang nyala tu? Is it this one? Oh, bagi King of the Pirates. Oh, this one. Buang. Right. So, yes. So, that was a nice session. Actually, I quite enjoyed it very much. So, kita dah tiba lah di penghujung kita punya session 2 jam setengah ni. So, dan diharapkan penonton di rumah terhibur dengan ulasan kami malam ini untuk musim kedua Hell's Paradise JIGOKURAKU untuk sesi yang akan datang. So jangan lupa untuk bersama kami sekali lagi. Actually soon, lusa sebenarnya, hari Ahad pukul 9 malam. Sayonara Winter 2026. Itu kami akan berbincang tentang selected siri-siri anime terpilih yang pada dalam 3 bulan tu. So look forward to it. Selalunya dulu saya suka combine Sayonara dengan Hello, tapi saya mungkin nak buat Sayonara saja because aku rasa ada 15 kot title. So kami tak ada bedah macam ni. So maknanya get ready lah, duduk 2 minggu depan komputer, tak adalah macam tu. Tapi kami akan talk selective topics lah of it. So look forward to that session. Again pukul 9 malam, Ahad 5 hari bulan April 2026. So kami juga berharap untuk melihat apa yang bakal memenuhi selera peminat anime untuk musim bunga. So that one might be also a stream, depending kalau ada orang interested nak buat, atau saya kalau tak ada interested, saya akan buat just my own video. Tapi kena buat soon lah, kalau tidak hilang momentum, because kita dah masuk dah pun spring season untuk 2026. So maknanya anything yang start dari 1st April, Mei dan pengakhiran Jun will be spring season. So there'll be a few titles to have a look at. Dan juga untuk memberi ulasan, as I said just now, live stream. So JIGOKURAKU, aku pun fikir kena tengok cepat, because dulu aku buat Sakamoto this 2 seasons later, Amber pun lupa. So aku cakap seorang betul-betul. So kepada anda yang baru ke sesi kami, jangan lupa untuk melanggan, berkongsi dan tenyeh butang like untuk kedua-dua laman YouTube STOMACHOFCHAOS dan Buzz Pop TV, laman pop culture suka ramai Malaysia, supaya anda tidak ketinggalan untuk sesi kami yang akan datang. Dan jika anda ingin menonton sesi-sesi kami yang sebelum ini, selain dari arcade kami yang mengandungi sesi ulasan stream yang penuh, laman YouTube STOMACHOFCHAOS juga mengandungi video ringkas yang mengambil tema spesifik dari perbincangan kami yang lampau. So akhir sekali, terima kasih kerana sudi bersama kami. Sekali lagi pada rakan panel saya Munif Malik hari ini, Osukari sama Deshta, dan saya Kudo Maharizu. Both of us signing off. Ijo desu. Mata tode. So see you guys in the next one.
Selamat Hari Raya guys.
Selamat Hari Raya. Actually lupa nak wish. Selamat Hari Raya. Maaf saya batin. Kita orang pun bercuti puasa and early Raya. So it's been a while. So hopefully we'll be back with the back. So jumpa lagi for the next session. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.